We're live. Painkiller Already, episode 231 with our guest, Anthony Cumia.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thanks for having me back. Love you guys. Always fun to hang out.
Yeah.
This episode, of course, being brought to you by Patreon this week. Patreon, if you're not aware of it, there's a link down below. You can go to our Patreon page. You can sign up. You can subscribe to it. And for as little as $5 a month, you get early access to PKA. You get it as soon as we record it. Sometimes we record these things very early in the week, and you actually get it 3-4 days early. That's rare, but you'll always get it as soon as it's available. And you get the video and the audio, of course. And for $10, you get early access to PKN. That's a week earlier than anyone else. And you get it in video format, which is only available through the Patreon. And, of course, you get to submit your own AMA questions, which we're going to get to a little bit later tonight. So go check it out. Sign up, find the package that works for you. Hell, for $500, you can come play video games with us.
Yeah, we had that recently.
That was cool.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well. So
he got a lot of mileage out of his money, I think. We played for him for like the required hour or whatever it was, and then he stuck around and streamed with Woody for a couple hours, I think.
Yeah, it was a good time. It worked out really well. So, so good stuff. Anyway, check out Patreon. Rumor is that people who contribute to Patreon are taller, thinner, sexier, and get laid a lot.
Mm-hmm. We've been trying to get Wings on the program for a while. He refuses. Low blow. I don't care. Do we want to hit up our first topic of this week?
I think we do.
I'm just so jazzed about it. I'm so super charged. I'm ready to roll right here. I love this first topic. We've got a video to accompany it. Now, I'm not sure how to introduce this thing. I think the video sort of speaks for itself. So maybe we should all just queue up at 0.
Yeah.
This thing and enjoy it for what it is. It's only a minute or so long.
So what we do here is we click on the link and then pause it at 0.
Okay.
And then we'll count down and all hit play together. I suggest you mute it. The audio doesn't really have much to do with what we're talking about. It's more of a visual thing. So Taylor, Kyle, you ready?
Yep.
Anthony, are you ready also?
I hope so.
Wait,
Rat is.
I need to make sure I'm sharing this properly. I am sharing this properly. All right, are we ready? Set, play. Our fans suspect that Taylor is getting a hand job during the last show. You be the judge. So what you need to do is focus on the third box there and Taylor's loving looks over at his girlfriend.
And perhaps her hand sort of moving a lot.
Yeah, but we'll get better views. I'm over here showing like lawnmower footage. It's really not that interesting. But God, these two are sharing a laugh and stealing looks at each other. Wait, I want to see it. Look at her.
Very incriminating arm movements there.
She's so guilty. I hope Anthony is seeing this. And there, look at the paws. Here, that's not lawnmower talk, right? Those two are doing their own show. And here, it's coming. Watch her arm. What is with the incriminating arm movements there?
I feel like she just moved your entire body, but using your dick as a handle.
I like how the person that edited this did white text on a solid black background, like he's suspecting me of a crime, like I'm in on 9/11. How solemn this is.
Look at the username.
I didn't even scroll. Oh, Woody, you bastard.
Oh, wait, username?
All right.
I think I missed the username thing.
It's you.
Oh, nah. But check out the replay on this. She's blinking. They're kind of playing it off. He seems really happy. We're talking about how heavy my gun is during this. It's not that great, but he's loving it.
Okay, to be fair,
he rubs her back.
She had to help me get through that. She had to help me get through the lawnmower talk, the heavy gun talk, just the mind-numbingly don't give a fuck topics.
All right, so what was going on there then? That's what I wanna know.
So what was actually happening there? Can you give us a better play-by-play?
Yeah. Well, you know how those things go. So
I've done a Wife Wednesday or two. Carry on.
Yeah. So realistically, like all the comments I was reading in the PKA Reddit, it was all just them talking about it like it was me just getting furiously masturbated under the table. Like everyone's like, "Oh, did you notice this? Did you notice that? Just look at her arm
So
right
how
there."
would you describe it then? Was it just a gentle like thumbing? Was there
any lube involved? Like
realistically, it was what do they call it in sex ed? A little bit of heavy petting.
Oh.
A little heavy petting
Fondling.
and fondling.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, some fondling. and there was a little going on, but at no point was there any climax or anything. Like I saw people suspecting that oh, well, he's holding himself together pretty well, or oh, he got up to clean his pants off, and they just thought that I just sat there and cum for like an hour and a half. Like I'm like, what kind of weird conspiracy?
Like maybe at some point you just finished all over the bottom part of your shirt.
Yeah. And I just decided, oh, I'd love to hear about how heavy Woody's lawnmower is, or whatever for the fuck. So I'll stick around and sit in this soup for a while. But no, there was no finishing effect. It was just a little bit of fun to get through the boring.
How unprofessional of you! I would never do such a thing on this show ever.
Oh, and you certainly haven't done it before. Before you added video.
Absolutely.
When you go back and listen to yours, you can hear bracelets jingling. You didn't even have her take bracelets off.
That was her necklace she was doing anyway. That's neither here nor there. I thought it was funny. I didn't notice anything when we were doing the show or anything.
Me neither.
I saw the comments and it drew me in. And I was like, yes, there's some funny business going on here.
I first saw it. I'm sorry, I cut you off. I apologize, but I first saw it on the PKA subreddit, and I was like, this is horseshit. Like, nuh-uh. And then they're giving the timestamps, and I'm like, whoa. They're totally right. This happened. Murka was getting handies on this show. They're calling it Inflategate all across the internet.
That's a great name for it. That's a very good name for it. But realistically, it was not as extreme as they're making it. I almost wish it was. It would be funnier to be like, yeah, finished 3 times, sat in it for the sake of the show, right, guys? Like, but no. No, it wasn't that extreme, but it was still pretty funny.
All right.
Oh, looks like we just lost Anthony for a sec. Hopefully he makes it back.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm sure he's got his tech
people
team
were
on
even
it.
saying, like, it got so into it because I just kept refreshing that where that was like Murka gets a handy on the show. Just kept refreshing that, going back and seeing the comments, and it went from like, oh my god, this is to a couple people at the very bottom like doing that, like, I know more than you, like, it couldn't possibly be that, look at the amount of movement and the duration and the angle, like stuff like that. But the real incriminating part was the GIF they showed where you could see, because her arm was kind of obfuscated behind this. I was at like a different angle the other week, and you could see her skin just kind of move past it over here where she just clearly had her hand in my lap and not her own. So overall, I rated that as a fun episode. Very fun episode.
Top 10% for Murka personally. So Anthony, welcome back.
Hi. Yeah, I don't know what happened. A little technical glitch, but
we just showed the video evidence of Taylor getting a hand job last week on the show.
I wasn't able to see the video, unfortunately. We were working that out, but I kind of grasped. Well, not grasped, but I
so did she.
Kind of picked up on what was going on, and it sounds like a great, like you said, a great episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to call in that more often. You know, just
little,
even when she's not a guest.
Yeah, just
sit next to me in 3-minute increments.
Nothing wrong with that. I just had a Kendra that that college girl. Kendra that kind of got naked on a webcam at the library at her school. Mm-hmm. She's in like Penthouse this month or something. Whoever buys these things anymore. This is so alien now. But she was today doing the show, and we did it from the jacuzzi. First, I had her, and of course Ari Shafir was playing part of Cockblocker. Today we had Ari, a comedian, on, but then we went into the jacuzzi, and she got naked, and it was pretty awesome.
She got topless. Did she get fully naked?
Well, she had her bottoms kind of pulled down a tad bit. I was able to see stuff.
All right. Yeah, that counts.
Yeah, it was
You took
pretty.
the bubbles off just so you could.
Yeah, no bubbles. It was the bubbleless jacuzzi. I wanted to say this some 19-year-old cam girl, but man, it's just creepy. I understand. Look at the two of us, and we're like, yes, you like you cam up, and it's fun. It just got really creepy.
You're just like, yeah, those losers on the internet. Can you believe that? Yeah.
Those guys. Look at me. I'm with a hot chick. Yeah, I just felt really creepy. But having a girl like that in the jacuzzi, topless and whatnot, it bypasses creepiness. You don't
does.
care how creepy it is.
It's how you know
you're
that
old enough to be her dad, but not just her dad. You're old enough to be her dad's older brother, and not just older brother, the brother that like when he was born in 65, then they had the other kid in 78. Like, that's how old you are.
That's exactly it. And I think, she was aware of that, but, guys her age are not, buying her things.
Oh.
We can at least buy expensive things for these girls.
Well, yeah, when that's your day at work, you've made a series of good career decisions.
Yeah. I mean, she was in school. She decided to drop out and become a cam girl, and I can't argue with that.
No,
Seems
financially way more lucrative, I would assume.
Way more lucrative, and of course, there's so much more longevity in this than there is in a sound, valid education.
There's tens of months that people are interested in people that age.
Of course,
it's rough too on the girl side. Like I don't know. It's so beauty based. I feel for her, right? There's a 17-year-old right now who's going to be 19 when he knocks her off her 21-year-old platform. She'll be 21, all washed up, career over.
Right now, she's practicing in her garage. Best,
right?
Best whore out there.
Yeah. Doing Rocky montages of hand jobs through boys' locker rooms.
While she's all glitz and showing off and going to Vegas, there's some young whore in her basement working out,
keggling loudly, preparing
style. Yeah. So it was kind of fun today to do that, break in the old jacuzzi for the show. The whole house for my show is my set. Like there's nowhere in the house that can't be used for some kind of set. I just had and I saw you guys had Chris Hansen on, huh?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I had him come in and did a whole To Catch a Predator thing, and we did the whole interview from the kitchen of my house, which looks exactly like it. I'm sure I probably resemble a few of the guys he's picked up in the past for certain things, but it's convenient though having a whole house as a set. Yeah, there was I was pulling up the security cameras, catching me pulling up to the house, and then of course you got to have the decoy at the door, because no To Catch a Predator is complete without the young decoy.
Is it bad if you're attracted to the decoy?
No, that's why it's a decoy.
Too. Like if the decoy is of age, like she's got to have a boyfriend,
right? Is he sick? Does Chris Hansen need to go talk to him after the show? I don't think so.
Because she looks the part.
No, because he's probably in class.
It seems to work out. And I decided to do the look around very suspiciously because that's absolutely what happens. And then the kitchen, the cookies were there, the lemonade, and I brought a giant bottle of vodka, condoms, and I believe some Zima.
Ooh.
Good pick on the Zima.
Seagram's rainbow drinks. And then Chris Hansen came out. And I got to tell you, it is alarming, even though you're doing a sketch, to have Chris Hansen come out there and accuse you of trying to come here to have sex. Were you, I read on your transcript, you wanted to have sex with an underage girl.
That's what I asked. I asked him. I'm like, do you ever feel sort of embarrassed reading that transcript? He's like, oh yes, like, because some of the stuff is just so filthy, just absolute filth that you wouldn't even think of. Like the sex acts that the one guy wanted to involve his cat or her cat, and he wanted. And if you could read between the lines, you literally have to because they're blurred. He wanted the cat to eat her pussy, like that's what he wanted.
Well,
It
yeah.
could have just been some clever wordplay that was misconstrued.
Yeah,
on
maybe
both
that-
ends, so
You know,
let's
that
go
is
with
possible. He just like put pussy in too many times. It got all weird.
Yeah.
He's in court. He's like, "No, Your Honor, I'm not a sicko. I wanted to eat her pussy."
We had Chris
It's like
Hansen,
not going over well.
on the Opie and Anthony show a few years back, and we took the clips of him reading the transcripts from his show and just played the audio.
I saw
and It was
that.
like, Chris, did you say this? And he's like, I would like to take my C and put it in your A. And it's like, Chris, did you say these things? It's like, well, I was reading the transcripts. But he's an intimidating guy when he's just standing in your kitchen like that. It was a lot of fun, though. He's doing that whole new project where he's funding it himself.
Yeah,
know.
that's the way things are going now, right? Like so many people are making movies or making remakes of TV shows, or in this case, making TV shows that just Kickstarter, get crowdfund it and make it happen.
It is pretty cool that the technology's out there now, and there's a lot of creative people that probably never would have gotten the nod to do a show or music or anything. But there's a lot of shit out there too, which is
Yeah, I mean, you can thank YouTube for Justin Bieber. That's how he was originally discovered.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah.
So Anthony, I did actually watch that skit you did with Hansen, and I thought the best thing you did out of it was you perfectly nailed the dead look in the eyes as soon as they find out that all of their life, all of their friends, it's all done. It's over. There's no going back.
You're like, oh man, it must like tumble through your mind, like, oh wow, this is bad. I'm on to, and then it just gets worse. Like, oh my job, oh my wife, my kids, my freaking boss, everything.
Yeah, you're just like, well, I don't have shit to do tomorrow.
The future.
Yeah. This is now your future. You're the pedo guy
Yeah.
from To Catch a Predator. Congrats.
This just freed up my next 18 to 20, so that's great.
Yeah. Just terrible. Just getting over that whatever's going around, friggin' AIDS. It's terrible. Been hacking like a tuberculosis ward.
You're in California?
New York.
New York. Oh yeah, then it would be
Yeah,
AIDS. That's
I
right.
think that's New York back here. I don't know. It's just switch whatever city. I figured I'd do something real original and put a cityscape behind me. That's no one's done that before.
Did anyone see David Letterman's last show?
Not
No.
yet.
Not yet. I'll probably catch it at some point.
Yeah, I saw that he had a ton of people on there at the very last one, and I watched a few of the clips. I saw Tina Fey, I saw Bill Murray, I saw Stern. It was.
Did Tina Fey come on again, or did you see her from a few days ago?
Her original thing.
Oh
from a
yeah,
few
when she
days
took her
ago.
clothes off.
It's been this last week, or really this last 2 weeks, has kind of been a big thing over there. So that's been cool to see.
I really like Tina Fey. Like, I have a feeling that if I knew her in real life, she'd be super cool. Looks better with the clothes on.
That's not fair. I thought she looked just fine. She had Spanx on. But do you ever notice the scar on her face?
Sure.
Do you know where that came from?
I read her autobiography.
That's crazy. Some
Yeah.
fucking psycho walked up into her yard when she was a kid playing and just cut her face and ran away.
Yeah.
How
That's
insane
awful.
is that?
Nuts.
That's like something from a Stephen King movie.
She was playing in her front yard like a sweet little girl. I want to say she was really young, like 5 or 9 or something like that. And yeah, someone just walked up, cut her face. It's a
yeah,
shame.
the Missouri face slasher, just out of nowhere, cutting
That's
kids.
all that he wanted. He wasn't trying to use her as a hostage, or he just walked up and thought, this is something to do Tuesday afternoon.
Maybe she ratted him out. The mark of the squealer. Give her the mark of the squealer. See?
Wow.
That's a tough thing, man, for a kid. Why would? Yeah. But did they catch him?
I don't think so.
think so.
Yeah, no, I don't think they caught him.
Damn.
Realistically, that's probably an easy thing to get away with. If it's just a kid hanging out in the front yard, I mean, they're not going to catch you. You're pretty fast.
Especially back then, they probably just went, put some ice on it, she'll be fine.
Yeah, rub a little dirt in there.
She
Like
hates
now,
talking
like-
about it. Like
Yeah.
she hates. She goes through all the conversations that people have in her autobiography. There's the people who say, "Oh, that's awful. What a shame," and she's like, "That makes me feel like I look awful." And then there's the people, the edgy ones, who say, "I think it makes you look distinctive." And she's like, "That's how I know they're liars." And
Yeah.
there's no right way that you can talk about it. She goes through the litany in her autobiography, and it's Don't talk about it.
That is like a condescending thing to say to someone with like an eye patch or a severe deformity. Like, makes you look distinguished. Like, oh, so you could pick me out of a crowd easily because of my disfigurement. Like,
Yeah, if you need to describe me to authorities, you know right what to go to, huh? Great,
oh,
great.
totally fucked up in this region.
That sketch artist would waste no time.
She's got a super villain scar on her face, I think. Yeah. Now, you know what, though? She pulls it off. She's,
Definitely so.
very attractive. People seem to have gotten used to it. Is that a bad thing to say? Hey, Tina, people got used to it. Like, there's nothing nice you could say about it.
No, just
No,
ignore.
but-
I didn't even know. I never noticed.
Dude,
I
I-
guess there's that.
Every character she's ever played, I thought was super cool, which implies to me that she might be too. And
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, I don't know. She seems cool.
John Wayne Gacy was a clown, though.
Oh, that's true.
He
Seems
was.
like a nice thing to be.
Yeah. Not
So
at this
who
point in
knows?
time. He ruined clowns.
Well, I think clowns are on their way out anyway, but
They're remaking it, and the Joker's got a new. There's going to be a new Joker. I think clowns are coming back in.
do you really consider the Joker a clown, though? Like it's kind of a lunatic, kind of, and I know he's supposed to be
Psycho.
kind of a clowny thing, but
Well, it really isn't a clown. He's some sort of
If
demon,
anything,
right?
like a jester more than a clown. 'cause
Yeah,
he's not,
yeah.
Doesn't have the bulbous nose or the goofy.
He doesn't
feet.
have the jester's hat with bells
yeah,
either.
Pennywise is
Used to.
definitely a clown. That's a fucking clown with the nose and the clowny makeup and stuff. But I've just never found them entertaining. The circus. I was just watching a Patton Oswalt special from like 2011, and he does a great bit about the circus and how just archaic and why are we still having circuses now? And it makes perfect sense. First of all, I think they're just boring, and to have that type of just animal abuse going on, and don't get me wrong, I love hunting and hunters and things like, but just does an elephant really have to be shackled and paraded around
Yeah.
under a
I
high
feel really
have
bad
to-
for those elephants.
for entertainment? I mean, just CGI the shit for God's
I've
sake.
I
ridden
have
one
a friend
before.
who's trying. I've ridden one too. I have a friend who's trying to join the circus right now.
What is your friend a vagabond from 1919?
Right?
So let me
He took a
explain.
dirigible to New York. And he's
He's not really my friend, although I do like the guy. He's like a family friend. So my wife and I are friends with like this other couple, and they have two boys, and one of their boys is like 19 or something. And that guy's trying to join the circus. He's always been athletic. He's like totally, and he was like a parkour coach and stuff like that. And he got accepted into circus school, or he did some like easy to get into circus
I
school.
bet they popped the champagne on that night.
Just a bunch of coils and springs.
Believe it, Mom, Dad, I got in. Princeton, Yale, circus school.
So I don't want to join in the teasing, although I've had these thoughts. His
Oh, you
parents,
know this person, right?
yeah.
We don't.
His,
We can
Yeah,
say
your
it.
mom watches the show too. I'm sorry.
his parents are really sane and nice, and you would find them lovely. I promise. Dad is like a computer programmer. Mom is an author, and then their kid went to college, and in the first semester it didn't work out. I don't even know the details on that. So ever since then, he's been trying to follow his dream of joining the circus. And
Do you have majors in clown school? Like,
I don't know, and I don't
Juggling,
think what he really
lion
wants to
tamer.
do is circus. I'm going
Does
to
he use
pronounce
the
it
whip?
wrong. Circus Olay? Circus.
Cirque du Soleil.
Say low.
Cirque du Soleil.
I always say
Soleil.
Circus Olay. I feel like I'm leaving out the half of the letters. But
Taylor nailed it.
didn't he just say Circus Olay?
No, he didn't.
No,
Cirque du
Cirque-
Soleil
Yeah.
It's Cirque.
is
Day.
different. Yeah, Cirque
Soleil.
du Soleil. And that's different than like a regular circus. That's kind of this weird European,
Sorry.
Euro
Yeah.
trashy kind of swinging around and flying.
There's-
and,
Someone died from then that last year.
There's no
Yeah.
animals in Circus Olay.
Feet drop.
And everyone's just kind of like a, I don't know, like a not everyday gymnast. You know, this is a gymnast, but he works with ribbons. This is a gymnast, but he like stands on top of balls like an elephant or something.
So wait, there's no animals in Cirque du Soleil.
Nah, I don't
Right.
Why
think
would you
so.
even go to a circus if you couldn't see some?
It's not a
monkey?
circus.
Well, it's kind of a circus.
It's kind of, I think it's a French circus or something.
Isn't circus or cirque the French word for circus?
Yeah, it's like
Oh,
well,
you-
cirque is the circle, a circle, and then de soleil of the sun, It's like some type of, so it has nothing to do with like that type of circus. It's this very artsy. Yeah, there's like ribbons suspended from the ceiling, and people roll themselves up in it and fly around, and it's
rolling.
all very artsy. Yeah.
But the athletes are so incredible. It'll make you
It's
question
crazy
if you're
how-
gay or not.
Yeah, they're very athletic.
But we're talking
maybe
about
that's just
like
me.
lion tamers, whips, like Dumbo's out there, a tear rolling down his cheek, that kind
Oh,
of shit.
yeah.
We're talking
There's
about
like
circus,
an
the
orangutan.
American circus.
Yeah, there's Dumbo with an orangutan's feet like bolted to its back, making it like juggle
Yeah.
balls around.
They'll make the
'cause-
lion like all like stand on the drums
Oh,
and
doing
shit. Like,
things-
Bears
It's
bleeding
not
from the
supposed to
whip
do.
marks across their back, riding bicycles.
you know, every
that
now
kind
and
of
then,
circus.
my favorite circus videos, I'm not gonna lie, are the ones that basically turn into when animals attack.
Yes.
Everything's going great, and the elephant won't fucking put his foot up there, so they're poking him with that spiky. What they do to train the elephants, they hit them where they're sensitive. That's like the backs of their feet. I think there's a sensitive spot there, and they had this long pokey hook thing, and they'll hook it and like hook it really hard and like stab him basically. And I just remember them like hooking this elephant over and over, and he wouldn't put his foot on the thing. And finally, he was just like, "Fuck this shit, little man," and just grabs him and slams him on the ground, starts stomping him real good. And that's the only.
Those are
reason
my
I would-
favorite street fight videos too, right? Like there's some skinny guy who's been abused, and you can tell he gets bullied all the time, and then he's finally like, ah! And it just like beats the hell out of the bully.
I do like a good elephant rampage, but it really is. When I watch some of those, I'm like, how hard could it be to out like this an elephant? Like they're very big. I know they're powerful and can be fast, but I think a couple of zigzags and you're around them. like he's
No.
not.
He's up there. He's looking. You can't get away from him.
Yeah.
He's
You
like,
kinda-
could
you
a
kinda
bug
like-
zigzag around you?
Yeah, you kind of throw your arm out this way and run that way. I don't know.
Right? You fool him, we go that way and then duck left.
Yeah, and get around. He can't turn around very fast. You ever see him turn? They're like,
I don't know. See, I'm with you, Anthony. I feel like whenever we talk about which animals we can beat up or outwit, I feel like humans are pretty high on the pecking order. But most of these guys are like, I don't know anything past a ferret and I'm fucked.
No, that's not. I mean, so honestly, I think we're giving ourselves too much credit for the elephant. Like that's the same as like if a fucking pug had sentience enough to think, it would look up at us and be like, how quick could it really be? I mean, it's got 2 legs. I've got twice as many. And like, but really, you could make it run around your legs for a bit, but you're gonna grab it, you're gonna catch it. That elephant's gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, in terms of
yeah.
elephant, I think I'm fucked.
They're
Yes.
smart too.
They don't
But-
forget.
What if an elephant grabbed a chain with its thing and started
weapon.
whipping
Yeah.
the chain?
A
That would
huge
be.
flail.
Oh!
On the end.
Why don't they have that in Lord of the Rings? That's what they
Or
should have
Game
had.
of Thrones.
They did. They had the Mumax. Those or whatever those were.
Yeah, but they had the
Oliphaunts.
elephants, but you know they just had like they needed a whip though that they could like whip with their trunk, like give them like crazy trunk range.
Right.
That's
What is the weapon with the spiked ball on the end of the chain?
a mace
flail.
or a flail.
A flail.
oh, there are a few. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The
Like a
mace,
mace-
is just the ball, right?
Yeah,
Put
that's a
spikes on
fixed
it,
head.
becomes something special.
Yeah.
I can never
I
keep
love
up
the
with
thought
this.
that, like, yeah, I got this big metal ball on the end of a
Cornstalk.
chain, but it's just not enough. When I crack someone over the head, let me put some spikes on it.
Yeah, step up our flail game.
Yeah.
Do you watch Game of
That
Thrones?
seems like a bad move. You know? Oh, sorry. I don't want to jump in on the.
Could probably hurt you. I mean, I've seen enough people, and I wonder if in those ancient oldie times, as many people fuck themselves up with that as you see now with nunchucks. Like I've never seen a nunchuck video where someone hasn't nailed themselves in the nuts. Or, have you seen Lancelot with these? He was playing and cracked himself in the skull. And,
Yeah. The difference is with a flail, you get one mistake.
right.
So otherwise, you're just got a
That's it.
head full of spikes.
Do you watch Game of Thrones, Anthony?
I'm not caught up, and I know that's like sacrilege to do, but I don't care. Discuss. I love the show, and I will watch anyway.
Well, I guess we won't spoil the show or anything
Yes,
for
we
you,
will.
but we will. Mm-hmm. It was
Let me tell you what part I'm up to.
Okay.
A kid was pushed out the window and broke his back or something.
Oh, like
Jesus
8
Christ.
minutes into episode 1.
Something happened
You
to
started
him.
an episode.
He's injured, but he'll be okay. I think. I don't know. It's no.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Don't even sweat it.
They had just introduced the midget, I believe. I don't remember.
Is there a slight gentleman on that show? Yeah.
I just want to say, I think that was their poorest attempt yet. That's the worst episode they've made on every level. The acting and the technical stuff with the fight choreography was pathetic. And not only that, like, it's not just that the fight looked pathetic. It's that the idea and the concept of the fight is pathetic, because you've got Braun, who's a super badass, right? He's cut down 4 men while they're all on horseback before. He's done all these crazy feats, and the single combat with that knight back at the Eyrie and all that crazy shit. He's a badass. He's scary. He's the guy that we thought we might send against the mountain that rides.
Jamie could have brought anyone, and he chose Braun.
He chose Braun. But he gets in a fight with 2 teenage girls. One's got a whip, and the other's got a couple of daggers. And they're spinning around like they're not even moving their feet. Like, I'm a better swordsman than these chicks are.
Yeah.
Honestly, it looked more like a noodle fight that a bunch of 9-year-olds would have in a pool than a choreographed.
Ever see one guy in the movies fight 12 ninjas, and then there's 11 of them just sort of like jogging in place, waiting for their turn? That was how it was awful in a show.
Attack Crazy 88 style. You need like just coming at you.
So there was that, and then the whole scene was awful. The rape at the end, it doesn't go like that in the books.
No,
they said they were going to start departing from the.
Well, they
books.
sure did.
Which I got to tell you, I'm a little happy about, because if I had to hear one more fucking stuffed shirt tell me, "Oh well, the book." Let me tell you about the book. Shut up. I understand you're Mr. Smarty Pants reader guy, but I just like tuning in and watching the show.
I'm kind of.
This is going to make it worse, though, because now people are going to be sitting there watching it and be like, "Well, and actually, this just."
Oh yeah, let me tell you what happened in the book. No, this is the show.
Then there's a long 20-minute diatribe of all the divergences and different tangents they had in the book that aren't shown in the show.
There's some major divergences happening, though. They're just changing what certain characters are doing. Jamie's supposed to be in the Riverlands doing something. There's a whole Greyjoy storyline that they're just leaving out. Theon's family. And for some reason, Sansa's up north getting raped, which we don't need to see, I don't think. Like, it just seems like an unnecessary...
Sansa doesn't go up north.
It sounds like an easy shocker to just rape her at this point. Like, shouldn't she have cut his dick off? Wouldn't that have been a better scene? I'll tell you what would have been a better scene. If fucking Theon loses his shit at that moment and comes up and just, like, cuts the guy's throat, and the blood sprays all over Sansa, and he's like, "There's your red wedding." And then they go through the castle killing shit. That's what the episode should have been.
I've said this privately before, but I haven't read this in the book. I'm halfway through book 5, so if it happens, I don't know. It's not a spoiler.
Oh, book.
Suck it, Anthony. So
that means
anyway,
he's read at least 4 other books.
Oh my God.
There's only 5 books, which means I'm mostly through them all. Anyway,
I get people all mad because I bring up the Gilligan's Island books. Now the show wasn't very good, but I read the books, the Gilligan's Island books.
Did they stay true to the books? Anyway, what I'm trying to say is this. Theon Greyjoy, his character gets tortured, and then they make him say that his name is Reek, right? He has to get rid of his previous identity. My name is Reek. Reek, it rhymes with bleak. It rhymes with meek. It rhymes with whatever. And he chants these things, and they kind of like dehumanize him and make him into this servant. I hope that at one point, they're like, "What's your name?" They always make him say his name is Reek constantly. He says, "I am Theon Greyjoy." And he fucking whips out his sword and goes to town. He needs to kill someone. He needs to summon the army of the Iron Isles. He needs to make a thing happen. He was a douchebag before he got tortured, but he has more than paid for his crimes. It's time to become Theon again.
He did burn those 2 children to death.
We didn't even know them.
We didn't know them. They were the miller's children, though. He
paid his dues.
If you remember the books.
You do realize they cut his penis off, right? That's worth a couple people.
He killed the wife and the husband, too.
I'm told it was a very good penis.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. I'm glad we came to agreement.
I feel like Game of Thrones is... they better redeem themselves this week, or I'm going to start feeling bad about the show, because I already felt like it's kind of... Like, maybe it's going to turn out, because we have all the books aren't written. There's 2 more books to be written. Maybe it just turns out that this guy's writing a really bad story that we're not going to like the end of.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's just rape.
not
and
gonna
bad
get to
guys
see the
winning
end.
whole way through.
He's in his late 60s and he's morbidly obese.
Oh, geez.
Like he's not gonna. No, he's not gonna make it through.
He's
It's
got
gonna
enough
be like
money. He's got the look. If Magic Johnson has made it this long with AIDS, then J.R. Martin or
is
whatever
different.
he'll make it another 10 or 20 years with his money. He'll be fine.
That's what we need to do. We need to get him, like whoever cares for the president. We just need his doctors to start watching J.R.R. Martin as they just ensure that he types 20 pages a day.
Did you see Michelle Obama's workout video?
No.
Oh my God, I have to though.
She's wearing a leotard. She's in pretty good shape. That you mentioned taking care of the president's body. Somebody's taking care of Michelle's body. She's jumping
Really? 'Cause
rope.
she looked
And his name is Barack.
She looked very wide for quite a
Powerful.
few years.
I think that maybe she dresses poorly, or she's
Yeah?
trying. She
Link?
looks good. Let me find it. Yeah.
Yeah. But oh, and then Sansa. So Anthony's going to rip me for this, but in the book, Sansa doesn't go to Winterfell. And it's not her who gets raped. It's what they do is they find one of Sansa's friends who looks a little bit like her younger sister, and they say this is Arya, and she goes through all this trouble. But so Sansa's
They
not.
just threw the rape in there because I feel like they knew it was a weak episode, and they were like, "Oh, if we ended on something like this, then at least we'll get a hashtag going. And people will be like, oh, I should get into this show." Like, it was pretty weak. The last 2 episodes have been weak.
Sansa's character has been developing this guile and cunningness. Cunning is what I'm looking for. Cunnliness is totally different. Yeah.
Cunnilingus?
Yeah, very good at eating out the other.
So anyway, she's been developing this guile, this wit, this cunning. She goes toe to toe with Littlefinger, and her character is like sort of coming into her own, where she could be a player in the Game of Thrones. And then, like, she knew she was marrying Ramsay. She knew she was going to consummate the marriage that night. Why couldn't she take it with a smile, or this look at the camera like it's all part of her plan? Why did she have to be raped like that?
Take it with a smile.
Well, it's part of her plan. She went there to marry this guy as a part of her plan to take back Winterfell. She knew they were going to consummate the marriage. So
I don't think she knew that the guy who murdered her 2 brothers was going to watch.
You've never hit it with someone else in the room.
Hashtag gimme5 First Lady boxing workout.
She's looking pretty fit there.
All right, so I'm queued up at 0.
Do you have the video, Anthony?
I got the video over here, yeah.
You should start at 20 seconds in, because they interview her trainer and have a bunch of other bullshit before then. So at 20 seconds in, they really kick this thing off.
All right, I'm at 20.
Don't exercise without your parents around.
It's for kids.
All right, are we ready?
God forbid you burn an unsupervised calorie.
All right, at 20 seconds. Ready, set, play.
You don't want to come off the floor too high.
Whoever's counting.
Impact exercise.
From past videos I've seen of her, or presences, I don't know the last time I saw a picture of Michelle Obama, but it does look like she has gotten in better shape.
Just nice and easy turns of the wrist, and this is very good.
Anthony, because I know you thought she was a bit girthy.
Look, and she's she's a little hippie, but I mean, 2 kids. I understand. She's
Isn't she closing in on 50? I want to say she's top 5%. In her bracket.
Yeah, she got some definition on her arms, and
everyone forgive Anthony. He spent the afternoon in a hot tub with a 19-year-old. I think his standards got blown out of the water.
Yeah, that might have biased me a bit on Michelle Obama.
Yeah,
she's looking pretty good here. I guess Obama got his own Twitter finally. It's at POTUS, President of the United States. Is that it?
he had the other one, but I guess whenever he would tweet something, it would say BO, Barack Obama at the bottom. But now this is exclusively his. And he's just joking around with Bill Clinton.
That was great.
So, hey, dick face, what's up? They're just making jokes.
I know you're not really pro-Democrat. You don't want to see Obama and Clinton goofing off. But
no, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Clinton was like, hey, does that Twitter handle come with the office? I'm asking for a friend, right? Because his wife is running. He's like, and Michelle Obama is the FLOTUS, the First Lady of the United States, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he's like, anyone that needs FLOTUS? Which is funny because Bill
was
would
kind of like him calling Bill a bitch.
Yes, which was great. Yeah, so that.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty entertaining. I don't mind, a nice human moment between these automaton politicians that rarely do that. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It's gonna. I was looking at some of the replies, I guess, that Obama got right away because I was like, wait a minute, is Obama immune to the cancer that is Twitter? And no, he's not. Like immediately, he's just like, it's good to be on Twitter or whatever he said first. And me, it's just like, fuck you, nigger. It's like, what?
Oh, I know. Yeah,
like, right out of the gate, that's what you say to the president. I can't believe that was a bit shocking. But then I remembered it was Twitter. So
lucky for him, though, he's got people that could just be like, hi, we saw your tweet.
You know he won't do that, but it's still stupid to say that to him because he could. Like imagine he's having a real bad day. Like it's the worst day he's had in like a year or so. It's a bad day for Obama. He's just like, that one. You're there. Like 6 hours later, all beaten and bloody, bag pull off your head.
Yeah.
What that's you're saying.
Dude, if I was president, holy fuck, I would repurpose the Department of Homeland Security. They just all be like, okay, let's start off with everyone who said shit about Colin.
Power. I like it.
Yeah, I would just that dude. This is what's the Homeland Security doing anyway, right? They're just like the CIA and the FBI kind of duplicated. Give them a job. People who talk shit to me on Twitter, they gotta go.
My war on Twitter terrorism.
Yeah, I'll be like, look, yeah, I know I didn't close down Gitmo, but there's a lot of assholes on Twitter.
So many douchebags saying bad things about me. Go get them. Yeah. Oh, I'd love to have that kind of power.
Whenever I hear Gitmo,
69, would you? And then just take them off to a camp.
Do you remember? Was it Bill O'Reilly who said that he would get waterboarded? Or no, it was Sean Hannity.
It was Hannity. Yep. Yes.
Was it Hannity?
Yeah, it was definitely Hannity, and he said that he would get waterboarded for charity, and then a handful of people offered to do it for him, including Jesse Ventura. And every so often it comes up on the internet like, hey, just a friendly reminder, it's been 1,782 days since Hannity said he'd be waterboarded and hasn't been.
Would you be waterboarded what would it take for you to be waterboarded? And I mean professionally for 30 seconds.
But you can't it doesn't work that way because you know that it's somebody that's doing it for this, that you have to
I'm gonna do it. I'll drown you.
Like 10 years from now, someone has to grab you. You just don't even know what's going on and start doing it. So you have the fear of not knowing if this is real or not. Like that's the part of waterboarding is, I think I'm dying. Not Jesse Ventura going like, are you okay, Sean? We're gonna waterboard you. And knowing that he's not gonna murder you.
That's not a bad impression.
Oh shit, I killed Sean Hannity. It doesn't happen.
That's exactly what Ventura sounds like now. All right, so I have actually. So we were filming a video once, and I let them waterboard me, and there were no government agents there to professionally do it. But I think I know what waterboarding is. They tilted me back in a chair that I was tied to. They put a rag over my nose and my mouth, and they poured large amounts of water like straight onto there. It was awful. It really was terrible. It was.
How long did you last?
Maybe 10 seconds.
So when you lasted 10 seconds of being waterboarded?
There's water in the back of your throat the whole time.
It's that I've seen that. Christopher Hitchens did that, and he only lasted for a few
coughing
seconds.
and like forcing the water back out of your throat. Like you're on the edge of like inhaling constantly.
I mean, it seems great to do to people that like screwed you over.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand. Right after September 11th, 2001, I don't think one American would have thought, well, we probably shouldn't do that to them. Everyone's fuck it, waterboard them. Now, people kind of go, maybe the torture thing.
Yeah, I've seen
it's also because of just the nature of it that people aren't as afraid. It's not like having your fingernails torn out. It's just like it's water in a rag, and I don't think people really think about it.
It sounds very like what? I wash my face every day. I got a washcloth and water. What?
Yeah, they just leave it on until you get mildewy. What's going on?
So we were doing what would it take to get waterboarded? I don't want to get waterboarded for charity.
No, I don't either. I get that money for my suffering.
No, but let's do it under Anthony's stipulation of it's like a coupon that you give to someone, and it's like redeemable.
I'll still do that. I don't care.
Then, because
sure. That's even better. They get to put it off.
Yeah, and I might just accidentally shoot you when you come to fucking do that.
Exactly.
Shit
Oh,
happens.
what are you gonna say? They came at me, tried to take me. What am I gonna do?
Yeah. Oh shit! I shot him. Fuck.
Now, they'll display the coupon. No? So, Kyle, what's your amount of money? Because clearly you have an
It's
idea.
super low. No, it'd be super low. Like all of mine are. Like when I really boil it down to like seeing cash piled up, like $1,000 will get just about anything done you want. Like it's I'm just like I could have some fun with $1,000. I just go
Whore.
$1,000?
yeah, sure. I mean, I'd hold out for more.
Yeah,
if I could get it.
you see, I'm
But
kind
the
of with
lowest
you.
amount that I would take if they were just an ad that said be waterboarded for 10 seconds, $1,000. Like I'd answer that. Like
What
sure.
year is
strap me
this
in.
ad from?
It's a newspaper ad.
Is it just 10 seconds?
Yeah, it's
I
10
mean-
seconds.
For
Yeah,
10
then-
seconds, I think I mean, if they came to me, I think I'd do it for $100.
Yeah. What is it? Can't you just hold your breath for 10 seconds?
Yeah, answer that, Kyle. Can't you just hold your breath for 10 seconds?
Why after 10 seconds are you like, whoa, whoa, when you could just, I've been underwater longer than 10 seconds. I think that's worse than just having a wet rag on your face.
Well, you can't close your nose.
Yeah, they tip you backwards, so your
Oh,
feet are
so
higher
the
than your
water's
head.
going
The water's
straight
Down. Yeah.
The rag up your nose. Oh, okay,
Yes.
that's
No,
fucked
going
up.
in your nose, in your mouth, and you're just and it starts this whole process of like you cough,
Okay.
the water kind of clears, and and then you inhale more water, and you
Oh,
cough, again, and you're
fuck.
just like it's like hyperventilating with
That's
a little water
awesome.
in your respiratory tract, and they keep pouring more. And keep in mind, like your heart's racing because you're like tilted back. They're
Yeah.
holding you down. Maybe they're slapping you around a little too. In my case, it was my friends doing it, but like my heart was still racing.
Please
and
tell me it was like Jeremy or someone of like equivalent. Chuck.
It was that guy I was telling you about. We were talking about this the super rich guy who went whore racing. He got on the
Yeah,
the
yeah,
hooker-
yeah, yeah.
It was him. He's one of the guys that was holding me down, and Jeremy was the other. They're wearing ski masks in the video and everything.
Damn.
Nice.
They didn't let us air that. That was shitty.
What'd you say? Oh,
Let
they
us
didn't
use
let
that
you
foot-
air it?
Oh, they thought it was too hardcore because
Man.
you can hear me like.
Dude,
Wow, that's fucked.
the best videos Kyle makes, they don't get on YouTube. They just get shared with friends. Like him waterboarding him. Kyle, man, so you remember the first time? Can I talk about the one that with the tree falling at all? Like what its content was?
I was too close to the wrong end of a cannon, and it shot a bowling ball in sort of an unsafe way, and it cut a tree down that was behind me.
So let me explain this, right? If you could picture Kyle standing about 3 feet from, can I say
target.
a target? Okay. And then the bowling ball was meant to hit the target to observe, what happens when you shoot a bowling ball at this thing. And it misses the target by like 3 feet. Thankfully, to the 3 feet not at Kyle, right? Or it's 3 feet up,
high.
was it? It was high. All right. Now, I have watched Kyle miss a car. What have seen you miss? Mannequins? Like Kyle's missed some serious shit with this cannon.
Oh, I don't set the cannon up. Eric sets the cannon
But
up.
the thing is, you're inaccurate enough that you can die. If you got to stop standing down range of the cannon because you suck at aiming it.
You're inaccurate left and you're accurate left and right. Like I could shoot it through a crack in a door, but I'm just not sure if it's going to hit the top half or the bottom half of that crack. It depends on how much powder's in there. It uses black powder.
So you're comfortable enough to bet your life on this because you have.
From that range? Yeah, absolutely. If it hit me, I'd have never known it. It just my head would have went off like in The Patriot or something.
Ooh,
No, they
man.
wouldn't have come off. You would have vaporized. Just like when you hit a dove in your car.
This thing will
going
shoot
80.
through it. It'll shoot in one car door and out the other. That's what we did to that Mercedes. It's very
Wow.
powerful.
Damn.
But yeah, it was a really cool video.
This
but it was
cannon shoots bowling balls. I don't know if we really laid that out. That's what you use as its projectile, a bowling ball. And yeah, Kyle has missed all kinds of stuff. Yet he still stands down range of it. It's really how Kyle might die.
Didn't Mythbusters shoot a bowling ball through someone's house?
Yeah. I'm always like every now and then one will go awry, and I'm just like, we gotta start.
Yeah, where did
Like
it
at
go?
this point, I'm like, guys, we got to go to the desert next time we film with the cannon because like every time we shoot it, you can hear them when they're in the air because bowling balls have 3 holes in them and it's spinning as it flies through the air at high altitude, and it makes this
Yeah.
noise with the rotation. It goes woo 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 woo, and the farther away it is. The frequency changes if you know how acoustics work. So as it gets closer to you, it speeds up. So at first it's woo, 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 and this thing's out of sight. It's a pinprick in the sky. It's so tiny. We've shot it so high, and then you start hearing it. Woo, 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 woo. And somebody goes, I lost it! And everybody starts running. And everybody's trying to like get under cars and like look for something substantial to get over their head, and you just hear it hit the fucking ground with a crack. Pah!
Oh no!
And like, it's pretty unsafe to play with sometimes. So we've been we've used it in the desert before. I think that's probably what we'll do in the future too.
How far does it go into the ground? Like just regular dirt?
Not that far. Like, because of terminal velocity, it slows down to a pretty slow rate by the time it.
Do the cannonballs keep working? Like,
Question: if they don't hit anything hard, they will keep going indefinitely. It seems. But as soon as you hit something with them, they just fucking explode. Bowling balls are made out of like a plastic with some cork on the inside and like maybe like a fiberglass resin, like a resin type scenario. So if you hit something hard with them, a lot of times they just kind of come apart in these big, sharp edged chunks. I think we're losing Anthony's video here, which is
we've lost his video. Have you guys had his video through most of the night? No.
No.
Okay. Yeah. So he's
He was glitched out in one position. Like I had an image. It was just a still image. And now it's just the head.
I just had like a rotating no image type thing, but hopefully he comes back.
Yeah.
Better than ever. But yeah, I'm still a little preoccupied with Murkas handy.
Just I thought it was very funny. I
thought it was great.
Oh,
As
yeah,
much-
we both think it's funny. Like, no need to worry about offense, as if you would. But, like, I thought it was a fun little addition.
Usually those scumbags on Reddit will come up with something petty to complain about or like come up with something from the past to like being annoying about. But this one was actually funny. They found some evidence. They did a traditional Reddit witch hunt, and they nailed it down really well with evidence.
Incredibly quickly, too. Like, the video it was still at like
Yeah.
3:01. And it was like there were more upvotes on the post than there were views on the video. They found it immediately.
Hard scoping your girlfriend. That's the only way they noticed, because they must have been like, oh, let me see what this girl looks like. Let me learn more about her. Because I feel like if I were just a casual fan and I were watching it, I'd have never noticed that
Can
going
I interrupt
down.
for a second?
Yeah.
Just for the video people, I know that the boxes are in the wrong spot, but they'll be in the right spot if Anthony comes back, so I'm just holding out.
Should we introduce ourselves in case they're confused?
You're all like half ahead. You look like this.
Oh, should I? Do I need more? Like, would this be better?
Am I gone?
Murkas in the corner, like Kyle looks good. Yeah, Kyle, I could. If you could just be a little taller than normal, we'd see your eyes. Wow, Kyle nailed it. And Taylor's a little low. There you go. Down Taylor now. It's hard to hold that. Anyway, if Anthony comes back, then all the boxes will be in the right spot. If he doesn't come back, then I'll fix it manually.
Okay.
give
I
me a
saw
second.
someone suggest that they were like, why don't the guys use their real names in these boxes? Any thoughts about that? I'd be fine with being Kyle. I don't think I need to be FPS Kyle. I could be just Kyle.
I rename everyone in Skype, right? And every so often I'll share a Skype conversation. And they're like, oh, good work, Woody. Now you gave away FPS Megaduck's real Skype handle. No, I didn't. No one keeps that. I'd be happy to change, to Kyle and Taylor and stuff like that.
Would you?
I don't really care. It's just a weird thing that, like, why are people looking at the names? Like, are they coming in?
I guess so. That's
it
what I'm
seems like
talking
we're
about.
known more by the gamer tags. Or I am.
Yeah, maybe. But I think it's that a lot of them already know us, and they're like, hey, you're more of a Taylor to me than you are a Murka Durka. I think that's probably where they're coming from.
Could be. I could
be.
update it. What was I going to say? I had it. Oh. So WoodyCraft is doing a team building event. Yeah, actually, so I've got a couple guys on paid staff. One of them lives nearby, Heather. You guys know Heather, so she'll drive here. But Chiz and Ice and Fuzzy, I'm going to fly them in from around the world, and we're going to spend time in Raleigh. And we'd be coming up with like all these like team building activities. Some of them are like little competitions that they can do, and I don't know,
Who's
cross
Ice
bridges.
and Fuzzy?
They work at WoodyCraft. They're staff. So they're not famous outside of being WoodyCraft people. But Jackie keeps circling back to like, hey, one good team building activity. What if we had fence building races or like lawn mowing competitions? We could do that. And she's trying to
yeah, guys, come, it'll be fun. We'll do some fencing. Everybody's imagining, like, everybody gets a foil. Everybody gets the thing. You're like, all right, here's your tool belts, fucking post hole diggers.
Off we go.
Take your allergy medicine. It's hell out there today. Come on.
Yeah. The challenge is you get 1 cup of warm water every 6 hours, and you can't come inside. Ready?
We're going to do go-kart racing. We're going to do laser tag.
Laser tag.
I do feel jealous because I played laser. You were my first.
I thought paintball or airsoft would be the way to go. I think you just need a couple more of the. You've already got one airsoft gun. I think
I have two.
I think the most fun way to play airsoft is when only one guy has the gun anyway, and he hunts the others.
I
in the
think
forest.
that's the opposite of team building. That is
no.
just
They work as a team to avoid you, and you hunt them.
It's a terrible idea.
Yeah, the most dangerous game.
Yeah, don't ever pursue a career in like HR, Kyle.
All right, here's how it works, boys.
We're talking about lawn-sized Jenga. I think that would be fun. Although I don't know how.
What is that?
You've never seen it? Do you know Jenga?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you play Jenga with like landscaping timbers, where the boards are like 4x4s, and you do something big and strong. Mm-hmm. Which should be cool. We could play it with 2x6s or something like that. So I might put together like a lawn-sized Jenga.
Can you invite him back? See if that.
I can.
On it, I see.
All right. You guys are mostly back in your proper spots. Hey, wait, I think we have him.
Thank God.
Mic check.
Jeez.
There we are. Welcome back.
Oh, my God. Oh, I don't know. All this technology and the weak link in the whole thing is Rat's dumb computer. I guess we have to buy him a new present, new computer or something.
Oh, here you are. You're looking good.
There we go. Oh, my God. What a catastrophe. I was enjoying the bowling ball story and everything. Damn. I got cut out of it.
So you have a tech guy on site named Rat, and he handles all this stuff for you?
Yeah, he's like every day for my show. He's kind of the director, tech guy, and handles all the bullshit that goes along with trying to put a product out on the internet these days.
Does he stay in the guest room or something?
No, he's not like Alice the maid of 2015.
Yes!
Where, hey, you want to get a show on, Mr. Brady? He shows up when needed.
I learned long ago that the best way to find help in a small business is just to move them into your home with you. That way you got them there. They can't leave. They want to quit?
Leave.
Where you fucking gonna go? Where you gonna go? You gonna quit your whole life? Because it's not just a job now. You gotta move. So just move your help right on in with you.
Karaoke tonight, and I need to broadcast it. Get out of bed and get in the. Yeah, that's.
How many people do you have there with you, Anthony? Like in a given show, generally.
Well, we got the lovely Rat, and then Garrett, who does production assistant kind of a thing, and screens phone calls, and then Keith the cop, who is the producer of the show, ex NYPD lieutenant, who of course always makes the best show producers, a cop. Take him to the back, put guests with a light in their face and hit him with a sap a few times, or whatever works. And Aaron, who is our publicity person. So 4 people are on board, and then there's various people that come in and out of my house at any given moment. It is a circus. It's definitely a Pee-wee's Playhouse kind of an arrangement.
All I hear is this guy knows how to monetize a podcast. Holy smokes.
It really helps if you had an audience to start with. I think that's what Adam Carolla said. Somebody asked him, what's the best way to get money from a podcast? He goes, be famous. It's like right off the bat, if you have a built-in audience. That's why I wanted to get this off the ground so fast after I was tossed out of SiriusXM in July. We had this up and running by August because I didn't want to lose the people that were like, hey, what's he doing? What's he talking about? Just get it up and running and have that built-in audience. So it seems to work. Knock wood.
So Opie did this thing. It made its way onto YouTube where he talked about your relationship, and to put it nicely, I guess it had become more of a coworker type thing than a friendship toward the end there.
Yeah, well, his was a response to what I did, which
Leave it alone, Woody.
I went leave
Too
it
late.
alone. Leave it alone. I kind of got on and talked about how I didn't think they really went to bat for me 100% with the boss. I think Opie wanted to move on in a different direction with the show, and me and Jimmy.
What does that mean, a different direction? Does that mean a direction without you?
That was it. What direction's Anthony going in? Let's go the other way. Whatever that is, it's this way. So it was kind of the ideal situation to change things up. Look, over the years, he became a dad, got married. His opinions on a lot of things changed. Mine, I've always kind of been, I like staying up late. I like waking up late. I like having people over. I like having parties. I like shooting guns. I like, all in one day, by the way. Parties, guns.
Dad?
And
What's your sleep schedule like? When do you go to sleep when you wake up? Typically.
I usually go to sleep at about 6 a.m., and I wake up at anywhere between noon and 2 p.m.
Yeah, I like that too.
That's
But
pretty much
circling
it.
back to the thing, Kyle, so I guess it's just simple as that it was
Yeah.
bumpy behind the scenes.
Look, if you're in any type of relationship, whether it's a marriage or a working relationship for just about 20 years, you're gonna bump heads every so often and not agree with things, and that's kind of what happened over the years with me and Opie. We kind of grew, we grew apart. I think we still did a great show together. I was never walking in there every day going, wow, the fucker, I got to do a show with this asshole. It wasn't that, but there were just things that irked both of us about each other. The only problem was we were doing a really popular show and making a lot of money doing it. So we stuck it out, unlike, Oasis or other projects that I've looked at over the years and said, what are they, dumb? They have the world by the balls. They're making a fortune. Just stick it out if you can't.
So many bands.
Yeah,
do
that's
that.
what I was
There's
gonna say
one
that.
guy in the band who's a cunt. He's
Right.
a cunt. All these guys want to go tour. They want to go back and tour the fucking world. Make 800 grand in the next 3 months each or something like that. When I'm talking about a small band, and there's just one motherfucker who's like, I made enough.
I'm just not into it anymore. How about you don't be into it when no one's into you anymore? How about you
Yeah.
play it out until the fans are saying, yeah, I'm just not into it anymore, and build up your little bankroll, and then
Right.
move and buy
If
a
you could
fucking palace somewhere.
Just work hard for 3 years, then you'll get the next 67 years as vacation. Does that work for you?
There you go. That's pretty much it. But we banged heads a few times, and then when I got fired, I think it was a good opportunity for him to kind of reassess what he wanted to do with the show. The show is a lot more kind of weirdly enough, family friendly now.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. And
No longer listen.
And I'm in a jacuzzi with a naked 19-year-old.
You often have some X-rated stuff going on over there. Every now and then, I saw some large black porn star. I'm guessing just very naked on your Twitter. Now, it's been a while back now. Yeah, I always see like some just dirty whores over there on your Twitter. It's
be
quite entertaining.
When you follow Anthony, you got to be careful opening that up in public or with people around.
Yeah, it's an NSFW Twitter definitely.
On the
So many weird things with this show, and it's exactly what I wanted in a show, was to be able to. Yeah, we put on the nights safe for work alarm, and then anything goes. Then it's your problem if you didn't turn it off or turn the sound out. There it is.
I like that.
It's a definite. Something's happening, but there'll be something like that, a porn star doing horrid things, and then I'll have a debate about gun control and the Second Amendment and things with on another day. It's very wide open. I just like the ability to be open, honest, uncensored, and really talk about, like, it's exactly how you guys feel about what you're doing. There's no one telling you, well, you better not talk about that or that. It's a true freedom that you have when you're putting on the show yourself, you know?
What are the things that you've been told that you shouldn't talk about on the show, Woody? Or maybe
I will say this: when I changed networks, I immediately had to clean up a bunch of titles. I used to do this series called Mail Monday, and I hate to say the titles were clickbait.
Okay.
But like, what would happen is I'd choose topics based on like what would help people and what would get people to watch. Like I remember one in particular, there was this guy who had blood in his ejaculate, and I was like, bloody ejaculate is a title I would click on.
That's a good title.
So that was that. And when I changed networks, they're like no curse words or even no like, bloody ejaculate talk in the titles anymore.
Wow.
So the titles and thumbnails had to be more family friendly than they were in the past.
Oh, well, that's kind of, well, I've noticed some other language of late on your show that isn't very clean.
Well, the content in the video, like that would take a lot of effort to really look into, especially this show. We did like a, 45-minute thing where we looked at girls in bikinis and talked about which one we'd want last week.
Sure.
Yeah, we were just ripping them apart. Like, oh, you see this perfectly hot chick? Pointy nose.
There weren't any perfectly hot chicks in that gaggle of
Well, there
fucking
were.
roles that you rolled out for us.
But I thought they were interesting too. Like the ones that were like good looking, but good, the kind of good looking you see on a daily basis. Like, okay, now what do you think about this?
Yeah, she could serve me coffee.
Jesus, Kyle. Kyle, if I recall, when we were at a Buffalo Wild Wings like 5 years ago, the blonde waitress who was helping us, who I kept telling you was
6.5.
Oh, you are recanting what you.
Did I
were
recently
solid
agree
about.
it was a 5.5? I don't
No,
know.
no.
Previously, you were like, "Oh, she's a cutie," and I'm like, "She's." You'd have to take a bus to get halfway around her. Like she's.
Oh, no, that wasn't true. She wasn't big.
She was a little.
Chunky.
I don't remember it that
Yes.
way. I remember she wasn't that pretty, but it was getting toward the end of the night, and we weren't going anywhere after Buffalo Wild Wings. I was just doing the best I can, and I wasn't
You
the
didn't
only
invite her
one.
back.
She was above average. I would put her at like 65% of
She
the
was
population.
the best looking waitress we had at that moment.
Yeah, that's true.
One.
Of all the waitresses serving my table, she was the best one, so I picked her. Like I wasn't gonna go looking for somebody, and take what you can get when you can get it.
Did she? Oh, and then you were competing aggressively with someone else for that.
Yeah, a married guy.
Yeah, it wasn't me. Just to be clear.
No, it wasn't Woody. So yeah, that was an interesting
You
thing.
could win over a married guy pretty quick when you just rat out that he's married.
I wanted to so bad.
Done deal right there. Oh yeah, how's the wife? Did you call your wife? Oh, excuse me. While you're talking, the waitress, you're like, excuse
Your wife.
call your wife. Then and then that's it. It's done.
Was she pregnant at the time?
Let's just drop it. Because I'm pretty sure he was just teasing. He was hitting on her in kind of a funny, kind of jokey kind of way, and I was hitting on her in a kind of a I want to fuck you in the ass kind of way.
Serious.
And so it was just
He was
yeah,
absolutely just trying to sort of impress his friends. He was not trying to score this girl.
Sure.
Well, when somebody's trying to score the girl, lay the fuck off. Even if it's a joke or you're trying to impress your friends. One of your friends is trying for the real deal. Lay off. What's
You have
he
two
doing?
options. You can either back off, which is what I usually pick, or wingman. Perfectly
Yeah, you should
acceptable
never
choice.
do the tongue-in-cheek, snarky cock block.
No,
I'm just
it would
joking, but I'm
be.
ruining your fun.
I was just goofing around, so you had to work 10 times harder. The deal
nailed
closed.
his
Fuck
shtick
you.
perfectly.
Guys can be real douchebags.
They can.
If I ain't fucking her, neither are you. Oh, thanks. Great fucking arrangement.
Do you need a whole new topic?
Yeah, please.
All right. Which fictional mom is your favorite MILF?
This is hard because there's a lot of fiction and even more moms.
Fake mom.
Do you think there's more moms than there is fictional moms? I bet you're right.
June Cleaver.
June Cleaver, she does not seem like a good lay.
That
Oh.
seems like a guy that really has mother issues. Like
Yeah.
that's the ultimate mother
Peggy
issue.
Bundy.
Peggy Bundy was a popular. This was an Ask Reddit question, and Peggy Bundy was a top
I didn't
choice.
see that. I thought hard. She's my pick. She's
Realistically,
hot.
that's a good answer.
That's like
Really?
really whorish though, and kind of weird. I
You're
don't
describing
know.
his type, whorish
Yeah,
and
oh,
weird.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, perfect.
Yeah, I was at the shoe store. I go back and fuck Peggy. She's super hot. Peggy, way too hot for Al, and she always wanted sex.
Yes.
Al, can we have sex? Just constantly. She always wanted to get fucked. No, Peg.
Wow, that's I'm going through decades of.
I'll do mine, and I think you guys will have a hard time topping her.
Worst is Malcolm in the Middle, right?
Yeah, she's not what you're
There are
looking.
worse.
But
Roseanne.
yeah,
worse.
Roseanne's a bad one. But at least,
Later, when she won the lottery and everything, you know.
what was Helen Hunt's character in? She was
she
with
a
Paul
parent,
Rudd.
though?
They did have a baby in that show, I think.
They did that fucking dumb Paul Reiser show with her.
Yeah,
I didn't see that. That's before my time, I think.
dude, it was Helen Hunt.
Sounds like some TV land shit.
Let's get some Anthony
Mad About
input,
You.
'cause he has a lot
Yes,
more years.
that was.
Ah,
Yeah.
Mad About You. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't think Helen Hunt is ever very hot. I mean,
really, I thought she was. I think like she had a Tina Fey thing going on, and that she
Yeah.
was like so super cool. It gave her a number or two on
You
the
like her in
1 to
Twister?
10 scales. I liked her more in Mad About You.
yeah.
I liked her in that movie where she was dating the guy who was like paralyzed or whatever, and he pissed on her while they were having sex in bed.
Do you want to know how big an idiot I am?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mad About You was on TV at around the time I was getting married. And I would watch that show and be like, that doesn't look so bad.
You thought your married life would be like
shit.
Mad About You?
It's
That
not.
was married life.
I swear, like, not that that's the reason I got married, but it was a little piece of the puzzle. Like, I could do that. I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Wow, that's.
I was really young.
She was a child star too. She was in some movie called Roller Coaster years ago, and it was like, yeah, she was a kid, and it was some. The plot was it was I think Timothy Bottoms, who later on went on to play George Bush in That's My Bush, that spoof show that was
I know
on.
that guy, yeah.
He ended up being a mad bomber that was setting up bombs on roller coasters around various amusement parks, and it ended. It was like a big commercial for Magic Mountain back in the 70s when they had the first loop coaster, and she was in that as a little child actress. A little trivia for you, people.
Well, I can't think of. I think Peggy Bundy's my favorite MILF. I'm gonna have a hard
That's,
time.
I just
and
don't
since
think
you said
she's-
fictional, I was even going to cartoon characters, and I was trying to think if I want to fuck the wife from like Family Guy, because I mean she's pretty hot. I think.
She takes it
Oh,
up the
that
ass.
voice.
There's dude.
Isn't it always kind of hot when she's very scantily clad as a character?
Yeah, she's wearing like a black negligee, or sometimes she's got like the dominatrix get up on. She's, oh, Peter, time for a whipping. And she's got the whip and everything. It's hot. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know. What about the blonde with the big tits there from Family Ties? She was on that show with Alex P. Keaton.
I mean, you just keep. What about back? If you're gonna keep doing that, Green Acres. What? Yeah, Green
Hey, how
Acres.
about that Zsa Zsa?
Zsa Zsa Gabor. Am I right? Am I right? Like
Yeah.
she's like dead now. She's 99 or something.
You can't count Ebb, who was the adopted son as a kid, so she wasn't really a MILF.
It's true. What about the pig though? That
Dude,
Arnold.
I have a Family Guy scene.
Motherfucking pig.
Can we
You got
watch
the-
this together? I
Is it a
haven't.
sexy scene.
It is a sexy scene.
Oh,
Fortunately,
it's excellent quality too.
that's good because
Oh.
I'll be less likely to get a copyright strike. but check this scene out. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, I'm
We're
looking.
watching a video of a video on a podcast.
But I'm
Just
hoping the
stick with it.
audio's good. Ready, set, play.
Incriminating entry in the state book, and that's our ticket to. Hey, Brian, what's up? Hi, Lois, Peter.
Listen.
Brian, did you know this couch was here? It's so comfortable.
Hey, Lois, look how short Stewie is. He's so short.
Oh my God, he is short.
They're high or something.
Yes.
Hey, Brian, he's knocking on the back door. What should I do?
What?
Holy
Knocking on the
nude. So, we'll just head out and let you be nude. Those guys.
He's knocking on the back door.
One more.
Oh shit!
Well,
He's
she
knocking on the
seems
back.
fun.
Should I let him in? I'm scared.
Holy shit!
Pretty good. I've seen that one before. I know that's a favorite of yours, the anal sex reference. She is dirty. They both are. I like that about. That's one of my favorite shows. I don't like much animation. I don't care for The Simpsons anymore. I see that they've reached some new like ultimate goal of like 30 or 40 years consecutive. I kind of got worn out on it about 10 or 12 years ago. But Family Guy still and South Park still stay relevant and funny to me somehow.
Well, the Mr. Burns guy, who does quite a few other voices, quit. So Simpsons is losing like a big swath of voices.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you
Derek-
have to keep in mind.
Derek
is-
Smalls from Spinal Tap, Harry Shearer. Yeah, he decided he was going to bail out. I guess contracts didn't go good. He said he wanted more money, and now he's leaving. He does like a lot of the voices for The Simpsons.
A
yeah.
couple
I
of
wonder
years
what
ago,
that contract's like.
some of the main voice actors got a big cut in pay, like the ones that do like Homer, Bart, and
How would you
whatever.
get a cut? I can understand like, well, no raise this year or something like that, but a show like The Simpsons, you're like, yeah, we got to cut your pay. It's like, do you understand like where the voices of it and you're doing pretty well. Like,
So animation, so there's no overhead really.
I think
Yeah.
it was hey, the ratings aren't what they were. The sponsors don't pay what they did. We're either going to cancel the show or we're going to lower the expenses associated with it.
to cancel the show, then motherfuckers, then you starve too.
Yeah.
That's you see, this negotiating expertise is why he has 4 people in the background working his tech out. Well, I set the shit up for the 5 minutes beforehand.
As far as to why I'm in my basement right now. I'm in a studio.
Oh. I liked that part in your video where you kind of ragged on Opie's negotiating tactics as just complete silliness and
Not
overblown.
crazy. Yeah, there was a lot of like if you're saying I'm not going to sign, fuck those guys. At least tell me, because me and my agent, as we're going back and forth with phone calls, had no clue whether he was going to re-sign or not. So if it was a negotiating tactic, fill in the other guy that's part of the show. But I think he always was. I mean, every contract he said, I'm not signing. Screw these guys. Fuck this. I'm never doing this again. I'll move on and do something else, he said. And,
Howard used to do that too. I know he's not your favorite, but he would like publicly go on and sort of set himself up for his next job and things.
Doing it right now.
He is.
Time for a new contract this year.
Is that it?
Is he in a position to
That's
be
what
doing
everyone asks. Oh yeah, big time.
It's contract negotiation time is so obvious. It's like it's so hack at this point. It's like, I'm not re-signing. You guys could go to hell. And it's like, oh, I guess it's over then. No, you always come back and all right, well, we'll do this, and we're asking for 1,000 hats. All right. Well, we'll get. You know what? If you raise the money up, we'll get rid of the hats. Ridiculous things that mean nothing. But eventually you just want the money. Yeah, it's all right. No electronics were damaged in that little spill rat, so don't worry about it. You missed that. A glass kind of went over.
Yeah, bad news for you, Anthony. You've just become our podcast negotiating mentor.
That's good.
We'll be tapping into you for advice next time Crunchyroll wants to re-up.
Give me a call, Crunchyroll. I heard about those guys. I know that. That Crunchyroll thing.
Yeah.
We're doing a whole building a network thing here. So, and I haven't even been fired for a year yet. So, it's a whole new thing. But it's pretty amazing and frightening and exciting at the same time to try to build this thing that's brand new. Like a couple of years ago, this shit just didn't exist. And I was saying, I can't wait until all this good-natured, hey, your podcast, my podcast, let's all get, we're cool. It's going to get vicious after a while. When it really starts getting monetized, people are going to be like, oh, you want to do like a fuck those guys? Fuck them. I'm not support. Why would I plug these guys when I need to? We're in the golden age of podcasting where everyone's patting everyone on the back and it's going to get nasty. Very
You know,
competitive.
once it pushes radio out, it's going to become just like radio is now.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And then it's going to be very competitive, and people will hate each other. Do you mind, Rat, cleaning up this wine after I leave? I have to actually, Danny, you want to come back here for a second? I have a dinner date tonight with the lovely, come back here.
Please
lovely,
be the same girl as you were hanging
Danny.
out with earlier today.
She's, no, this is Danny. She's a wonderful stand-up comic girl. Pop your shoes up then. Yeah, look, they're beautiful. So, I would love to hang out longer and chit-chat with you gentlemen, but I do have to go out to...
Cool.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Well, then
always
we will
enjoy
take
having
you up
as a
on
guest.
that. Love to hang up on a future date.
I love it. Yeah. You guys, no, but you guys, I always have fun hanging out and talking with you guys. It definitely is a, what do they call it? A pisser.
So how do people find you?
AnthonyCumia.com. And shut up. God, you clean it up, you guinea brat. Godfather. They always want me to be so Italian. Now be a killer like your father. Go ahead, you guinea brat. Yeah, AnthonyCumia.com, Monday through Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern to 6 p.m. And I thank you for letting me come on here and hang out with you guys. You're always a lot of fun. Hey, by the way, really quick, and I know it's an older game, but I just got obsessed with EVE Online. Is this bad?
It's one of those things. There's a few games in that sort of genre, and the genre is they can suck your life away and take it and make you part of their realm if you're not careful. You'll become one of them.
It'll be your new EverQuest.
I know. The best thing is, like, I'm training right now. I'm training skills as we speak. You don't have to be on, which I love. It's like sometimes I won't play for a couple of days, and I'm like, "Ooh, I trained for like 2 days. This is fucking fantastic."
Yeah.
Not quite a good first-person shooter, or I like H1.
H1Z1.
Z1 is a fun one. They're doing some great stuff with that. I got in early in the alpha, and I'm seeing that they're really kind of adding on some good updates and stuff. So that's a fun one too to play. I think that's my gamer fucking contribution for the show, guys. Thanks so much. I'll bring home a doggy bag for you.
That sounds great.
Take it easy, guys. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Come on anytime.
So I have a few different directions we could take this now.
Go.
One, he just mentioned gaming, and so we're already technically talking about gaming right now. We could talk about the big event that we're having tomorrow night, or for the listeners who are going to be hearing this, unless you're a Patreon, you're going to be hearing this Saturday. It happened last night. The big 2v2 civilization battle that is apparently
that's
going
tomorrow,
down.
right?
Yeah. Dr. Chiz and FES Kyle versus Monkey and Woody.
Yes. So
Pretty excited about this now. Monkey is a guy who's played in a few games with us. I think he does he work for you on WoodyCraft? Does he just pitch in, or does he just a user?
So Monkey, well, I guess I met Monkey through Sour. Sour, he has worked. He made the Halo texture pack, the thing that makes it look so awesome. He's friends with Sour, and he's just on my team a lot. He's really trustworthy. There are a lot of people in the Minecraft world who will pretend to be your friend just to get something, and Monkey is not that guy. So,
Maybe Monkey's been really investing his time for the big score that comes when he's invited to the first like team building exercise over at the Woody Mansion. You never know. I wouldn't trust him just yet. I've heard those stories about them becoming your friend and getting inside your base and taking all your shit. But yeah, he seems like a nice guy. I've played a few games of Civ with him on the opposing team, and you don't really get a big sense of like who they are as a person or anything. But he sticks in there for the long haul, and that's what's most important to me in a Civ game. And he's gonna team up with Woody. And are we gonna stream this thing, or is this gonna be like a private event?
I feel like if we're gonna stream it, then Chiz has to too. I'd be at a huge disadvantage if
I promise
stream.
not to watch the stream. I will take a. I only use the one monitor anyway. We often you send videos and I'm like, nah, I really don't want to alt tab. I'm afraid of crashing. So I will take a vow of non-screen watching if Chiz will, and I certainly would stick to it. I don't want to cheat to win. The victory would feel hollow, and the victory is coming. but I wouldn't want it to feel that way.
So what happened was I did not realize that Monkey was a Civ player. And I was saying, like, oh, one interesting thing about playing on a team is that you're kind of as good as your best teammate. You know, like hypothetically, if Kyle would have played with Jackie, I picked her because she doesn't know civilizations at all, then Kyle would just kind of have two civilizations that he was working out. She'd say, what do I build? How do I do this? Which way should I vote? Things like that. And she'd be good. And I thought that this guy, Lord Peter Baelish, was the reason that they won. I just fixed all the video. And Chiz says, no, Monkey was calling all the shots. Monkey was there. He was the director of that team that beat us pretty well. And somehow it just, Chiz came up with the idea. He says, he and you versus Monkey and I. And I'm like, I'm down. I just want it to be early. I wouldn't even mind starting at 5 instead of 6.
Start at noon. I'm ready to roll anytime. This is going to be real good.
Okay, let's start at 9.
In the morning? Well, that's just silly. Who's
9
awake
a.m.
at 9
still
in the
night
morning?
to you.
Yeah. My sleep schedule's improved recently.
Has it?
I go to bed around midnight.
Did you touch your new business today?
Yeah, I did a thing.
Did you really do a thing, or are you just saying that?
I mean, it wasn't a major thing.
It doesn't have to be.
It was. I touched it. That's my thing.
Because I know you touched it yesterday. Did you touch it today?
Yeah, I did a thing today. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. So, I'm sorry, I totally ruined the Civ topic. We'll circle back, but I'm excited about this. The last PKN, which if you're a Patreon, you've heard already. If you're a filthy peasant, sorry, that's what Kyle calls you, then you haven't heard that one yet. But I told Kyle I would ping him every day. And I have been best I can. The first day, Wednesday, I called him, but he doesn't even have his voicemail set up, so it's hard to really ping him all the time. But I pinged him yesterday, I pinged him today, and I said, just do a thing. Just make that call, learn a thing, research a thing. Just touch it every day so that it moves forward. Don't put it in some guy's hands and then let it, I'll wait for that guy to get back to me. No, there's lots of things you can do in parallel. Let that guy be the weakest link and have everything else set up while you're waiting on him, or ping him daily if that's what it takes.
That's exactly what I've been telling him. Just touch it a bit and then put it in some other guy's hands. Just, keep it rolling. I don't know anything about this, but I'm excited to learn about it after.
But no, that's been helpful. Just and that's the way to get anything done. I think I put it pretty well even on PKN, even though it's kind of your idea and your thing. But I kind of imagine it like a boulder that's in front of you, and instead of trying to roll it out of the way in one big push, kind of chip away at it a little bit each day, and eventually it's gravel, and you got it.
Yeah.
And it lines your smooth path to success. That metaphor just keeps going.
Oh, right. It becomes, and if you do it poorly, it becomes spaghetti junction.
Yeah, and you got sharp pieces cutting your feet.
So yeah, Kyle is touching it every day. Anyway, back to Civ. It'll be Monkey and me versus Kyle and Chiz. I'd love to live stream it, but it puts you at a huge disadvantage. People know all your specs, and just hypothetically, if there are a lot of wonders in Civ, like wonders of the world, that only one person can build. So he'll know exactly how many moves I am away from that wonder, and either he'll get it before I do, or he won't make the mistake of losing 12 turns of productivity, knowing that I was going to do it in 12 and it was going to take him 14. And if he never makes that mistake, that's a huge advantage. So, it's got to be either 2 streams or no streams. I know Chiz, and he would totally stream peak.
Ah. Well, I am more trustworthy, I promise. I would not screen peek if for no other reason than just general laziness. I do here have some AMA questions, and maybe you guys would like to peek through them, pick a few that you like. I need to go to the bathroom.
How do AMA questions happen?
I have a gaming thing for once. I actually played. Woody knows about this, I'm sure, from back in his day. But I played D&D for the first time online yesterday. Yeah, my girlfriend likes to play, and so I tried it out. And I didn't make a character or do anything. They just had someone who didn't show up, so I just commandeered the reins on his. And it's fun. I think I messed up his character, though, because I didn't understand, the alignment thing of, you have to actually do good things to be good, according to our DM or whatever. And so I just immediately started burgling people and looking for seedy individuals to then go and steal from. I threatened an old man, kicked over his piss jar, stole a little money from him. Well, not stole. I was working for a bookie, but it's a fun game. I can see how people get really into that and kind of get a little too attached to their characters if you make the mistake of taking it too seriously and not, being tongue in cheek and joking around.
And your character builds throughout its lifetime. So, like, when you die in COD, you instantly come back as the same guy. In D&D, when you die online, do you just lose all that, right? Do you have to make a new...
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't fully understand it still. I was having to ask her where do I go to pull up my sheet and roll for deception or whatever the hell you do, and it was really fun. I'm gonna play again soon because it's pretty addictive. I think I might make a character, but it's tough. It's really fucking complicated. I didn't think it would be this hard just to pick it up.
So I played D&D before computers as a kid, and I think at the time nobody played it right. It was insanely difficult to play and follow all the rules. So we would just play a subset of the rules that we understood and got. I knew how combat worked and hit points and defense, but I'm sure we did speed wrong or something, or dodging. I don't think we ever dodged, or I don't know. I'm sure we messed it up. But we played it right to the best of our intelligence level at the time because we were 11.
Yeah.
And then we played with other people, and I guess maybe I'm not right on that. Played it to the best of our intelligence level because, after a while, our characters got more powerful than they really would. We just sort of hook each other up, and you're all right, you've got the sword of charisma, and it glows blue, and it's wonderful, and it bumps these points up. And then we play with strangers, and they're like, "What the fuck?
Yeah,
you cheating bitches! Where do you find that imaginary weapon?" But it'd be fun to play it now online, where all the rules are sort of enforced for you, and you could do it right. And
as I understand it, I think the DM also has quite a bit of control over what rules to enforce, what to change. Which initially I thought, I don't know if this will change over time of playing it, but I think that's a cool thing that you can just kind of be a little, haphazard with the rules sometimes. Maybe there's something that just kind of ruins the fun, slows everything down for everyone. You can kind of just be all right, well, we're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it this way, and we're all going to still have fun. It's not like Magic the Gathering, the other really nerdy game that I've played for a long time, where you can't just be oh, we're going to ignore haste and trample and a bunch of other keywords, for the sake of simplicity, because then the game just kind of sucks. But
why
D&D,
is it
has
Magic?
a good mix there.
Why isn't Magic better as a virtual game than a card game? It seems like the virtual version of it, where the rules are kind of enforced for you and you can get any card you want for a reasonable price, would be better.
See, I would agree with you there. For one thing, I like actually owning it. They do have a Magic the Gathering online, but you still have to pay for online cards, and I could never get behind that. And I haven't played it ever, but I have watched videos of people playing it online, and it looks kind of shitty, and it looks like the timing of it can be difficult, where it's in real life you could be okay, I'm going to tap this and play this, and then on the stack I'll do this, and it all works kind of seamlessly because you have real time to do it. Whereas online it's you'll miss an opportunity, and you'll have the card that you meant to play, and you have the resources to play it, but the game's oh nope, you accidentally hit T or something, and now you can't go back, and that crashed the game.
Do you remember when we were at PAX and me and Onslaught and maybe Bash and Team Art were all cheering for you to beat that woman because you were our nerd and you were our champion, and you beat her the first time, but I think you lost 2 out of 3.
Yeah, she beat me the second times.
Could the you of today take that girl?
Yeah, well, a lot of it has to do with what set you're playing. So I hadn't played in so long that she was there for Magic, so she obviously was familiar with the different strategies, what the most popular one at the time was. Maybe red green was big back then, I have no idea, and I didn't know. So all the cards I was seeing was this is new to me, I wonder what else there is in here that's going to work with it. So I think I could, but she clearly knew her shit, so we'd probably trade games pretty well. I'm not excellent at it, but I have a lot of fun with it.
You think you could take Boogie? You calling him out?
Yeah.
Well played. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. I could take him. 5 out of 5. Come at me, Boogie. We'll play Legacy.
Now, are there leagues where you get to play any card at all? It's just bring your best deck and go?
There's that would be Vintage, because there's Standard, which is just the most recent set, and then there's Modern, which is includes a little bit more. Then there's Legacy, which includes a fuck ton of stuff, and then Vintage is like pretty much everything. But there are still some restricted cards on there, which means that you can only have one of them in your deck. And I still believe there's a couple banned ones because there are just some cards that they made in like 1994 that were so overpowered for what things do now, where it would just ruin the game. It would just ruin the fun of everything.
Does the Black Lotus count as one of those?
That's restricted in Vintage, I think. So you can only have one of them. Because otherwise, if like you drew two, I'm not even gonna explain because nobody would even understand the cadence of it. But yeah, it's a really fun game. I wish you guys would give it a try. If you want to just like try it like just for free, or I don't even know if it's free. It might be like $10. The Magic M15 on Xbox One. That's a fun way to do it, but it really limits your cards and tries to get you to buy shit, kind of like those online cell phone games.
Fuck that. Microtransactions are bullshit. What if I gift you, Taylor, Civilization 5 with all of its many DLCs and packs of fun, all the maps and the civilizations?
Don't do it.
Then you could play on your laptop some afternoon and
Don't do
spend
it.
a couple of hours.
The problem with
play
Civ,
single player.
Don't
Save
play
it a little-
Civ unless you have like 7 to 9 hours.
No.
Yeah, see, I don't want to get into a game that I have to devote half of a day of like my waking hours to it. Like Magic, I can play a lot if I want to, or I can play a quick 20-minute game.
Yeah, I'm gonna just be right
We
back.
have found ways to speed the game up substantially. I think you're going to see. I think maybe I will record this 2v2 from my perspective. I think I might because Chiz and I have come up with some really good ideas. I think we're going to make it very entertaining. I don't want to say much more, but
Did Kyle just lie and say he's found ways to make it play faster?
He said that he's found ways to make it play significantly faster.
Yeah, like we wrap games up in 3 hours now.
Fictional. This never happened while I play with
See,
him.
I wouldn't. 3 hours. That's like saying, I found a way to make Lord of the Rings significantly faster
I
by
never
not
said this
watching
was
the
Call of
extended
Duty.
version.
This is building an empire from the dawn of time to the modern era. This is going from scratching in the dirt to building submarines. So it's going to take a little bit of real world time. It's that time that makes you appreciate what you've done more. If you don't have it to devote to the game, then it's not the game for you. But you don't always have to play multiplayer where you're dependent on other people and their time schedules and their attention spans. You could play single player and just touch it 15 minutes a day whenever you got a spare minute or something. Clickety click and go 10 turns and then save it and come back to it another time.
I could see myself trying that out, like the single player, so I could just kind of turn it off, turn it back on whenever I wanted to. But the multiplayer, like you have to commit hours and hours and hours. Otherwise, you kind of, I can only assume, ruin everybody else's fun by being like, all right, I got to leave. Sorry that you made prior plans based on my position or my rank or whatever.
I would
now
do
that's
this
ruined.
for you. In that scenario, the way I would introduce you to Civ is you and I would play like a 2v2 versus like the computer, and we'd play as much as you wanted to, and then we'd save it there and come back to another time. That way you get, the advantage of like the world's best fucking tutor. Like who better could you want? Someone who not only has all the experience and knowledge you could ever hope to desire, but can also has the ability to articulate it. And I think you just warp ahead in your Civ abilities within a week or so.
I'll warn you, Kyle's my CS:GO tutor. Not doing well.
If anybody's a CS:GO tutor, I get on play every now and then. If someone recognizes me, I just leave. I just leave. Like every now and then I'll see it pop up in the chat. Kyle? Question mark, question mark, question mark. I like that. I type the question marks. And I'll just be like, and I'm like, out of here. Maybe they didn't see my score. Maybe they just saw my name bob by them on the screen. Because I regularly, and this is an exaggeration, 5 and 20. That'd be a decent game, right? That means I didn't die 30 times this game. I mean, and I'm playing like gun games, so it's constant interaction, but I just don't have anywhere near the skills that anyone else has in that lobby at that. However, in the realm of Civ, I feel like I'm really polishing my skills here lately. I always admit it. I will always say that there's still tons for me to learn. I know probably, I don't know, 70 or 80% of what there is to know about Civ, I think. And that's saying a lot, I think. But there's a lot that I know very little about that I need to know more about culture, and I'm not going to go through it all, but there's a lot I could know more. But every day I learn more, and I feel like I'm getting better
How
and better.
popular
and
of
better.
a game is it? Like,
No.
how many people are online at a given time? Like, is it tough
So-
to find games?
Dozens.
Well, so here's the thing about that. Now that can
Tens
be
of people.
that can lead you astray though. So the popularity of the game in its multiplayer format is relatively low. Now you can get on and find a game, but that's only because unlike Call of Duty, like people aren't frivolously looking for games. They're like, yeah, I'm looking for another human being. Oh, I found one. All right, let's work something out. Now.
On a related topic, there's probably 150,000 people watching this, and there's at least a dozen who like this conversation.
All right, we'll wrap up very soon. But for those of you listening to this, and maybe you're kind of a super fan of us or whatever, I can think of no better way to spend time with us and hang out than picking up Civilization 5. They're not paying me to say that. They should. There's no telling how many copies I've sold. Literally 3 or 4. Who knows? 5.
We've sold ones, possibly half dozen.
Yeah.
Dozens, perhaps. No, but the guys who get on there and play with us, I only know them by Gamertag or Steam ID, but Lord Peter Baelish and all those guys, they play with us on a really, really regular basis, like a couple times a week or something like that. But I'm going to buy you the game. Get on Steam. We need to exchange Steam IDs. I think you should at least try it because I think that you're a bright guy. I think maybe you've got a strategic mind and you'd enjoy. You outsmart your opponents, and then they pay for it, and they have to. They can't be like, well, I had a bad starting spot. No, you're like, man, you played there. You fucking played me. God damn you, you played me. Because they beat you. When you get beaten, you're just beaten. I've been
when
beaten.
you lose, it sucks a lot. Kyle's used this thing before where he says, basically, you're building a sandcastle.
Well,
And this sandcastle is your pride and joy. You love it. You have sculpted it. You've turned it into something that you think is great. And then, after about 4 hours of sandcastle sculpting, you've built your empire. You have a small city of sandcastles, all interconnected to each other, trading caravans and naval ships and stuff. Then your sandcastles fight his sandcastles. And he's just going to fuck it up. He's going to, knock the top off of it and break your roads and pillage your farms. And you're like, motherfucker. And you're going to launch artillery at his sandcastle. And if you lose, it is the most brutal loss you've ever experienced in video games. And it takes a while. It can take 3 hours as he sits there and fucks up your sandcastle tile by tile by tile.
We used to play 3-man free-for-alls, and there was one game where it was Lefty, Chiz, and myself, and I was head and shoulders better than both of them. I'm not saying like in the skill of the game, but in the score of that game, in the layout of that game, I was kicking both their asses, and they knew it. And I was just like all smiles over there, just building wonders and a farm here and a market there, hell yeah, and just like growing bigger and taller and taller and taller. And then all of a sudden I looked, and Chiz had like 6 horses, and Lefty had 6 more, and they were all just heading my way. And I'm like, hey guys, what are those horses doing? And they're just like, yay! And they fucking roll up into all my gardens and my markets and my fields that I'd made so green and beautiful and so much better than theirs. There's this saying, the pastures are greener on the other side. Mine were greener. They were better, and they burnt every one of those tiles until it was black and smoking. There's like a trail of smoke that leads up from that tile. They enslaved all of my people, took them back home, and they had my people build roads back to their cities so they could send more horses faster. That's what they did to me. It was a humiliating kind of loss, and I still don't like Lefty because of it.
The whole time.
Because
Not
I
bragging.
was going to win. Because it was either band together and find this common enemy or lose, and that always happened. And sometimes it would be Chiz, sometimes it would be Lefty. That time it was me, and I took it really poorly. And I always take it very poorly when I lose. I don't like losing at anything, but the amount you care about, at least in my situation, the amount I'm going to care about losing depends on how much effort I was putting into winning. It's directly proportional. So if I was just kind of, playing a little Counter-Strike and not really paying attention, I was texting halfway through the game, I don't care that I went 5-24. I know I'm bad at the game, and I know that a little concentration is going to make a big deal, so I shouldn't take these wins and losses seriously. But with Civilization, Woody said it before. I'm on the forums reading what other people have said about this shit. I'm looking up statistics. I'm doing math sometimes. So when I lose, it's like I said, I've been beaten. It's because he did something better than me, and at the very least, it's because I wasn't vigilant enough in the game to see what he was doing to me and stop it before he could. So it's I take it seriously and personally when I lose, and that's not what's going to happen
that
Friday.
Game with you. I'll try Civ with you if we do like a 2-on-2 kind of thing where we can just quit out sometimes, because I'm not going to play it for like 9 hours. I simply won't. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you also have to try Magic with me.
Sure. Okay.
Ooh, negotiating. Interesting.
Like rabbits out of hats and shit, because you're not talking about
Yeah.
that game.
Talking about making your
Come on,
own
David
civilization
Copperfield,
and
have some
being
fun.
mad when the tiles turn black, then you call my game stupid.
We could do magic.
Yeah.
I like the crank.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I was thinking about Patreon and how awesome those people were and how much I appreciate what they do. For $5, $3, $10 and more, there are different levels. You can check out the link in the description. But one of the things that you get are AMA questions. Ask me anything. So for Taylor, this was from a Patreon. What is the best advice for a college freshman headed into school? What should I approach going around looking for parties and stuff? I'm sorry, he wrote it better than I did. How should I approach going around looking for parties?
Oh, so he's just talking about like the fun aspect of it.
Well,
So-
the best advice for college freshmen headed into school. How should I approach looking for parties?
Oh, okay. I just clicked over to it. So it's 2 questions. The one for best advice headed into school. So I guess you already have your school picked. Before you pick your major, and don't feel bad if you change it multiple times. Most people do. Like if you get to like even almost finished with your sophomore year and you're like, probably not a lot of jobs in, I don't know, communications. Maybe I should look into that engineering or whatever. And then you're like, oh, well, fuck, then I'll be in for an extra year. Don't hesitate that. Like, definitely pursue that. Don't allow your interest to change. That's what you're there to do. So don't hesitate to change your mind a lot. And don't base all of that off of fun, where it's like, oh, well, if I do accounting, I'll have to spend more Friday nights in. And, you know, if I do underwater basket weaving, I can spend every other day just
Lots
futzing
of
around.
pussy in that class.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah,
Weird.
definitely look for something practical. Like, don't just go into something that you think is 100% fun. Like, actually think about a future job that you can use that in. Because otherwise you're going to get a degree and not get to use it towards a career. And, well, I guess that at this point you kind of just need a degree to get in the door most places. And then how should I approach going around looking for parties and such? I'm not it depends so much on your school. Like if you're going somewhere that's a small arts college, I wouldn't even know. I would say definitely don't get a fake ID and go to bars. That would be immoral. But if you're going somewhere like in the South that has a big Greek system, definitely go Greek. Find a frat that you think will be a lot of fun, or a sorority if you're a girl. Find one that you think you'll get along with the people there well. And aside from that, join clubs. Like, there's so many of them on college campuses. Some of them are just fucking stupid and have nothing to do with the actual club. They're just facades to make friends. Like there was a LARPing club at my university, and we'd see them on the square. I wish I joined. It kind of looked fun. And half the time it was, you know, people just sitting around in the sun, shooting the shit, making friends. It was guys and girls there, but mostly it was like the guys who had their silly foam swords that, like, of course, one uber nerd would bring because nobody else was buying all the shit. It's just like, hey, I'm gonna start this.
Oh, that's funny.
And yeah, one uber nerd brings like an armory,
The
and everybody just starts.
president of the LARPing club.
Yeah, see,
He's
and
also
like,
the equipment manager.
It's just a big pillow fight with weapons. Like as long as you're not standing there making characters like I'm Igor the Great, like just yelling about stuff like that, because that is not a good way to get invited to parties.
Lightning
But
bolt.
if you're just like
Lightning bolt.
tongue in cheek, having fun, you know, fighting with the pillow, then yeah, that people look and they
Did you
go,
get my
yeah,
reference?
that looks like fun. Yeah, lightning bolt. But yeah, that would be my advice. Just don't hesitate joining clubs. Everybody else is just as insecure or about as insecure as you are. Don't think, like, when you go to a club as a freshman, a lot of them are going to be freshmen. So give it a shot. They're all anxious too, just trying to make friends. So yeah, don't be nervous. You'll have fun.
All right.
Get another one.
I have got lots of these anime
let's-
questions from our
I will
awesome
pick.
Patreons.
Would you like us to pick them, or would you like to be the picker of questions?
I did look at that. That was the first one, and I kind of like the second one too. For each host, if you were in the Game of Thrones, which house would you choose to fight for, ally with, and why? Fight for or ally with, and why?
Oh man, I feel
It
like
changes depending on the time. If we have to start at the beginning of the series, it's going to be a different answer than now.
Really?
say I think I don't know. I think it's kind of maybe a Tyrell. I feel like the Tyrells, like no matter how you shake it, they're going to be on top. I know right now Loras and Marjorie are both locked up, but that can't last forever. And I'm not choosing to be either of those. So I feel like a Tyrell, you're rich, you're powerful, you live in like some nice part of the world where there is no war, there's only peace. The queen is from there. I think that's the way to go. You don't have the craziness of the Lannisters and all their enemies. You don't have the ridiculous like Greyjoy shit going on. You're not the only member left like a Stark.
Mm-hmm.
I hear where you're coming from, and I think that's a good choice. I kind of like the Dornish too. It seems like if you go almost anywhere else, like if you're a Tyrell and you're a bastard, you know, your last name is Flower. You don't even keep that guy's name. You and you like you have no future. You're like they just don't respect them. In terms of like love and stuff, it's either too formal or whatever. It's never passion based. If you go to the Dornish people, it lines up with my sense of morality a little bit closer. You know, like a bastard is a love child that everybody likes. It's not a big mistake, and I don't know. I like the Dornish. Also, they have the other advantages of like they're a powerful house, but they tend to live in peace. They're off. It seems like geographically they're farther away, although I'm not certain of that, and that sort of isolates them to some extent, and that seems nice. So Dornish is not bad.
That makes sense.
That is a good idea. That's what I was leaning towards, actually. Given
Really?
the knowledge we know, and because like, if shit does hit the fan, at least you have a big continent to flee into, and not just kind of be shit out of luck in Westeros.
Yeah.
That would be my answer, but for the sake of being different, beginning of the series, I probably would have said Lannister, because that just seemed like a dynasty that wasn't gonna fizzle out. It seemed like they had kind of everybody by a vice grip, whether actively or passively. Like everybody kind of had to, even if you were a noble, you kind of had to bite the bullet and be like, oh Lord, whatever the fuck. Like you give them the due respect. So
even Ed Stark had to bow down to what was going on over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that would be my choice.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm looking through these other questions. Kyle, I bet you have a good one.
Did Murka finish to completion on the last PKA, or was he just blue-balled for over 3 hours?
See, believe it or not, those aren't the only two options you have, Like, I did not finish because that would be... I would be very uncomfortable doing that on a Skype call with Kyle's face there, the impression, just making a weird face, like sitting there the whole time, like just trying to not look like a lunatic. Yeah. But also, it's not like
spring.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the keyboard. Give me a minute. But also, it wasn't blue balled for 3 hours. It's not like it was that much going on down there. It was just a little bit of teasing and joking around, A little bit of fondling and heavy petting.
Your girlfriend's tweet was awesome. Like that, I've had an affinity for crotches, and she's grabbing Goofy's crotches like a 7-year-old girl.
Yeah,
it was cute. Yeah, it was well played.
She handled it really well. She just immediately when I was like, oh, people saw you, throwing your arm over there, fooling around, grabbing at stuff, and she just
throwing your arm over there. That's how you put it.
Throw it over there. Yeah. No, but it's just like, yeah, it was pretty funny. I'm obviously glad it happened, but I'm glad people caught it too, as I knew they would, because I was watching my own screen during that sometimes, and she was like giving like
She didn't look either. She'd often be like this,
like right over to the side, like just the most obvious coy look. It was funny. We got a kick out of that GIF for whoever made that.
Ooh. Kyle, did you highlight that question yourself? Are you willing to take it on?
Oh, I was just doing that. I was going to ask myself that question.
Go on.
It says, hey, Kyle, what really happened to the FPS Kyle's like there's some like ulterior like secret thing that
It was
happened.
seized from you by the
What
government.
really happened to the FPS Kyle's Let's Play channel and all of the videos on it. I loved watching your videos back in the day, especially your Fallout stuff. Well, thank you. I'm glad you liked
If
that.
he was a real fan, he'd know your Dead Space stuff was the pinnacle of.
Apparently so. So, what happened was I forgot the password to it, and I can't log into it anymore because I don't know what the fucking. That's the truth. I don't know the password to it or any of those accounts that you guys are like. What about this one that had that like 18 video series of Mario? Like, I don't remember the password.
Do you still get paid for them?
Yeah, like $4 here and like $8 there, like at random periods during the year. Like I never know Machinima's pay scale. Like I don't work with Machinima anymore, but I still get paid on that old stuff. So that because it's on their channel. And oh, actually no, I don't get paid for this because they're all private. I still get paid for the stuff that's on their channel. That's a completely different thing. But yeah, I just forgot the password. I don't know it. If I could unprivate it for you, I totally would. I'd like to look at that stuff, but I don't know how to do that.
Those were a lot of good series. I enjoyed those. The Dead Space one was great. I watched.
I wonder. I hate to say this because it's I feel like I'm putting him
I
down.
wonder if it was any good. That's what he's about to go.
Yeah, like so. There's a nostalgia effect, right? People will be like, PKA number 17 was the best that's ever been. Then you watch it, and like the audio levels are all uneven. There's no video. It's not. We have no topics. It's only 1 hour long. If we had uploaded PKA 17 this week, they would riot in the streets.
Yeah, with that quality of like, welcome to
And not just the audio quality, but even the conversation. Like, big dead spaces. No one knows what to talk about. We're all kind of, sort of figuring out our roles. And like, I think PKA's gotten better. Well, a lot of people are saying we're in a golden age. And, we had Anthony Cumia on tonight. That's pretty good. Like, Murka had a hand job last week. I know I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, this is fun stuff. It's a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I wonder if you watched, like, a Let's Play from back in the day. You'd be like, no face cam, no this, no that. Like, how it compares to current stuff, like the current standard. Maybe it's better. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
Well, it's never coming back, so I'll just remember it fondly, Kyle. I
Ah.
thought they were
You never
good.
know. It's not something that I would. Every now and then I want to make one, so I do. It's been a while, but I might get. All it's going to take is for me to get passionate about a certain game for me to make videos of that game. Right now, I'm really crazy about Civilization, but the problem is the games are so fucking long. It's better suited to a screenshot series, and that's lame. So
Have you ever had like nostalgia ruined for you, like where you convinced yourself and you really thought something was the best ever, and then you went back and watched the movie?
The movies. It happens with movies, and it's mostly those like kids movies that I would just. I don't know. I went and watched Bedknobs and Broomsticks the other day, which I loved as a kid, and it actually held up pretty fairly well. But there's a lot of them that just don't. I know there's a lot of TV shows and like cartoon shows that I go back and watch. And I'm just like, God, why were you sitting there? Big bad Beetleborgs? What the fuck is that? So there's plenty of stuff like that. But I think I've always had pretty good taste in movies. There aren't too many that I watch now that I'm just not turned on by anymore. I watched The Avengers this week, by the way. Have you seen it yet, Taylor?
No, we went to go see a movie this past weekend. We saw Mad Max, which
I'm gonna
was
see that,
so
too.
exciting. It was so exciting. It was great. Like I got
Yeah.
40 minutes into it, and it was like it didn't feel like 40 minutes, and I kind of realized like this action scene that started about 4 minutes in hasn't ended. It's just been a 36-minute action scene, and then there'd be like a little bit of dialogue almost out of necessity, where the director's like, "Cut! I guess we should throw something in here." It's a little bit of talking.
But did you like it? Or because
Oh, yeah,
Jurassic
I
Park 3 was
enjoyed it.
like that, and it was kind of lame.
No, it was done well. I like how much you can tell how much Borderlands pulled from it as an influence. Like the whole, over the top guitar playing guy, where it's like it's really silly, but the fact that they're embracing it as silly, like they're not using tanks that presumably would have been left in this, future as well. They're using like an old '58 Cadillac with giant rims with spikes for no reason. Like it's a cool aesthetic. I liked it a lot. You're gonna enjoy that movie, Kyle. Knowing you.
I like the Mad Max movies. I've seen them all. I'm a big fan of the series. I like it.
I can't wait to ask this to Kyle. Listening to Kyle talk about his past in car sales has been on my mind for at least a year or so. Yesterday, I decided to bite the bullet and apply to work for BMW Mini. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start a career in the car sales game?
Well, don't you have any other alternatives? Like, there's nothing else you could do. Seriously, it's a really draining job. You won't have any free time, and even if you make a lot of money, you'll spend it on things that you just use to go to work. Like I saw the guys who were career guys doing that. They'd have, they'd be wearing $80,000 worth of shit. They'd have like a $30,000 bracelet and a $25,000 watch, and they all had these custom made suits, and it was just they were like. It was like, you're a car salesman, but you're dressed like you're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company that happens to be Pimps Anonymous. Like, it's ridiculous right now. And but the thing is, there's no reason for them to spend it on something they're going to use outside of the office because they stay there all the time. So if you're comfortable with that,
well, you're not really selling the job.
You shouldn't want to do the job. It's not a fun job. I think you just need to find an older, friendly salesman who will be your kind of mentor. That's what you need. You need a guy who, every time you make a mistake, he's going to show you what you did wrong.
Why are there career people at so many of those places, though? Especially like the high-end places. If you
they can't
walk
do
into
anything
a dealership,
else, but they gotta have that income. These are guys who they got phased out of some career. They're the 40-year-old guy who got replaced by a computer, maybe. Or just they just got phased out of whatever they used to do. It's just not a thing anymore. Maybe they were a .comer who used to do well or something like that. A lot of those guys had lots and lots of child support, and they had to add another zero to their monthly income or something. They had to make a ton more money. There's guys with like family members with health problems and stuff. You can make a ton of money doing it, but you just got to work yourself to death. You got to work constantly. If the sun's up, you've got to be selling cars, and then you can make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month, depending on the pay scale, what you're selling, used or new, how much traffic you've got. So the answer is try to find something better. But if you want to get into it, I don't know. You need a mentor. You need a guy there who's an older guy who knows the business and knows that store, and you can kind of work. Who will take you under his wing. That's definitely the way to go. I had an old black guy from Detroit named Peyton, who would tell me crazy stories about people trying to rob him on test drives and stuff, and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So,
yeah, I often think I wonder if car salesman's a good job for a teacher, right? Because they need a job in the summer that they can run it for 3 months or so. What jobs are you going to pick? It's not like you're going to start a whole career, and be like, all right, I'm going to learn. This skill. I'm going to be a network administrator. I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to do whatever, right? For 3 months a year? No. You need a job that you can get hired for and do something. What
prostitute.
Else? You work at Home Depot. Summer jobs on the boardwalk, if that's an option for you. Or car salesman seems like a pretty professional gig that a teacher might be good at. They can typically speak. Maybe they should sell cars in the summer.
No, it's not like something you could just pick up and do. Those are... So some people would make the distinction, like other salesmen or management would make the distinction between a salesman and an order taker. If you're an order taker, you're basically making minimum wage for your like crazy amount of time. You have to be a salesman to get more gross and to get that little bit that's always there on the table that only a salesman could get. You gotta be able to ask those closing questions. You've gotta be able to sell the upsell. Sir, you need that permaplate. In the back of your head, you're like, yeah, because that permaplate's $250 in my pocket. That's my money. Like, fuck this $40,000 car. This lady's gotten me down to, like, all my gross is gone. I'm going to make $50. It's not even worth my time at $50. I'm making, like, $15 an hour here, and I'm doing a shitload of paperwork and having her car detailed for her. Like, that's bullshit. I got to sell this permaplate, and I got to get that extra $200, and it's actually worth my time today. So you might not be able to pick that up in a week or two.
When I got my truck, it had the undercoating for $750. Total garbage. I get this, right? Taken, I think. The thing is, every single car on the lot had it, and apparently the Toyotas were all shipped in from like Southeast Toyota in Georgia or something, and every car out of his distributor has it. And I'm like, oh, it's unavoidable, it sounds like.
Well, what is it literally? Like was it some sort of like something you would look at and see?
I never saw it, no.
Then how do you know it was on it?
I don't know what was on it. I
didn't
just didn't
see
know how to
mine.
avoid it.
That's the thing. First, you want to say, could you prove to me that it's on the car? And they have to say, well, if you look closely, you'll... no, not really, I can't. Do you have any proof that you put it on the car? Okay, well, you say it does this and that. Let's expose the car to this and that and see how it fares. Because, all right, so what we would do, we called it permaplay, and it was for the fabric and the carpet, and it actually worked, but we didn't put it on the cars. We just sold you the warranty. That way we don't ever have to sell the product. We only have to account for the 1 out of 1,000 people who comes back and says, hey, I got some chocolate pudding on my seat. Permaplate didn't save the day, and I paid $7.95 for it. What gives? That never once happened to me. I never saw it happen. I'm told it happened once. Can't confirm. But we were just selling it left and right, $800. And we even had these fabric swatches. One's got the permaplate, one doesn't. You pour some ketchup and it's hydrophobic almost in the way it just gets rid of and cleans up nicely, and it's something that you would want on your car. And I sold it without a bit of guilt because we are selling the warranty. When your seat inevitably gets stained because we didn't put any magic shit on it, just come back, we'll give you a new seat. We never even specified what we do. We'd literally, if you kept complaining, we'd put a new seat in your car.
Were people aware of that, or was it
No.
so they were? Okay. Well, then
I was aware.
then you should kind of feel guilty about that.
They got the warranty.
No, but that's not what they paid for. You misled them.
Actually, it is what they paid for.
Well, it's what they paid for.
It's not what they thought they were getting.
Pretenses. Yeah, exactly. I saw Woody's face, when he's and I don't feel guilty about it at all. And Woody's eyebrows just, yeah, not at all.
Look, I never felt guilty about one mistruth or lie, whatever you want to call it, that I may have.
I remember this is early in when
Are you
I
talking
first met
about-
Kyle. No, this won't be bad, I don't think. And I was wondering how I do in the car sales game. And because I thought to myself, well, I'm a pretty good speaker. I'm sociable. I do well when I meet new people. And I think everyone who succeeds on YouTube probably has the aptitude to work in sales to some extent. But without saying it outright, he was kind of like, no, Woody, you got to be a guy that thrives on fucking up somebody's financial future. And I'm not sure that's you.
You'd be like, yeah, just sign right there, and you will not be able to afford any of your payments going forward. This is your life now.
Yes.
This is and now your life's over. Thank you. All
Yes.
right. I'll get it wrapped right up. Yeah.
For the next 6 years, you are going to struggle to make this payment, and you will only enjoy this car for 2 months.
How do
I've
they
blocked-
even think that? Because I've never purchased a new car. When they see the payments on it, if it says
Some-
800 a month or whatever, 300 a month, I don't know for how high of an end
Some
car it
people
is.
don't even ask what the term is. I've sold people on the payment per month, and they didn't even know what the term was.
Which is the duration, if anybody.
Yeah,
doesn't know.
yeah. And we bump people up past 72 months if their credit was good enough. We'd put you up to 84 months or whatever it is. It's not even a round number anymore. It's something ridiculous. You're like, I've never heard it. Heard 84 months? Are you sure?
That's 7 years.
Add
I
another
think, right?
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you add another 12 months to a 72. Yeah, and you can, if they have good credit, you can do that to them. And so you would ask the most basic questions like, what would it take? What would it take for you to buy the car today? Or you could even start from the ABCs. You'd be like, okay, we drove the car. I've told you about all of its features. We've compared it to things like the Camry and the Accord. We've looked at the differences, and we see that our product definitely beats them in all these categories that you claimed were important to you. And also, I think we can meet that payment per month plan that you were looking for. So what would you say on a scale from 1 to 10? 1 being you're not interested in the car anymore, and 10 being I'm ready to take it home today. Where are you right now on that scale from 1 to 10?
Then they give you a 7.
Okay, 7. Now, that's not too bad. I hope I didn't do anything to make you mad today. Let me ask you, though. What would it take to get you to a 10?
And then they can renegotiate. How much?
Well, then they're going to tell
Usually
me,
a
well,
price.
if the payment were better. Yeah, a price, a
Yeah.
number. They'll say, they have to give me an answer to that. Well, if the payment were better, okay. So if I could get that payment to $378 a month, and we could fit it in with these other bills, because sometimes I'd do their whole fucking budget for them. We'd be like writing out their other bills, their income, doing the math, seeing if they could afford it or not. And then, okay, well, let's take that payment down $15 more a month and add a year to it. And let me take it back to my manager, and they'd sign on that. Sometimes it would be, the contract would be the number 400, a circle around it, a line with an X, and then they'd sign on that. And it's like, that's it.
And you
It's
have a lot
over.
of free reign as far as pricing.
Yeah. Well,
Of course, not like total free reign. Like a buddy can't come in and you're like, all right, $100 for 1 month. Like, you know.
I've done both those. So I don't think they never told us you've got free reign, but just by watching other salesmen and seeing what the managers would kind of do cavalierly, I kind of figured I could take my own. I just took it upon myself to do it anyway. No one ever said I was allowed to negotiate the way I negotiated, but I would just say it anyway. And because I saw that at the end of the day, they're either going to walk out of there or they're going to buy the car. Like, so if I piss off a few customers, nobody's really going to care, because 90% of them turn around and walk out anyway. So who cares if I broom a few?
That's how I
And-
picked
What was
up
the
girls
longest-
in the summer.
Yeah, numbers game. What was the longest amount of time someone came in and pissed away your time where you really thought, like, they're in, I got them for this F-150 or whatever, and then they were like, nah, and then just left.
There were a few who wasted my time early on before I got wise to that. But after a while, I got good at. I think that's one of the things I was better at. It was pre-qualifying people, not just about their credit and the amount of money they had, but also about their seriousness, like how dedicated they were to actually coming here and buying a car or something. I don't know, a couple hours, 2 or 3, something like that. The worst really is when they want to buy the car, but at the end of the day, they can't. You know, it's one of those things where, like, the finance manager's like, yeah, we can make this work. You've got a 637 Beacon and you're making it, $6,500 a month. Okay, blah. He's calculating. I think I can go through SunTrust or maybe Ford Motor Motor Credit. Maybe they've got a new thing. Let's 7.9% AP. Oh, we can get rid of that 3.2%. Blah blah. And hours go by, and your job is to be the clown, to entertain this customer who's sitting there drinking cup after cup of shitty coffee while they wait for this guy to tell them whether they can get the Camry or not. And you've got to keep them cheery enough that they don't just finally say, you know what, fuck all this, I'm going home. I could be watching Seinfeld right now. And so I've spent a lot of time doing that only to find out they couldn't buy the car.
Asking for
What
a
was the
friend,
tactic?
if you can buy the car cash, is that the kind of thing you keep hidden until the end? Are they gonna assume you're a man of means and screw you?
I don't think it means anything at all. It wouldn't mean anything at all to me as a salesman. It certainly isn't going to impress me. It's not going to, because because I've seen people buy cars for cash that were really expensive, and I've seen, like, what was that rapper's name? Young Jeezy. Young Jeezy came in one time and bought like 5 of his guys all like matching Chargers. So it's like, you're not going to impress me by like be like, I'm writing a check for this today, so let's get on it. I'm just like, oh, great. So I won't make any money on the back end. Great, sir. That's great. I get paid less when you do that in some cases.
So should they keep that a secret until the very end?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Definitely.
It probably wouldn't matter too much to me. You'd get the same service and you'd get the same pricing and everything, most likely. We just hit you in a different way. And when it got to financing, like, you'd have to tell us, we're like, all right, it's time to go to financing, and you'd tell the next guy. You're dealing with 2 salesmen. You got to keep that in mind at most dealerships
But I just
anyway.
feel like if I keep that in my hip pocket, and you think, all right, I didn't get him with the permaplating, I didn't get him with this, but we'll fuck him with the financing, and then you're like, I'm invulnerable to finance fucking.
Well, usually the way it works is the salesman doesn't get paid very much on that back end anyway. Like, the dealership is going to get you one way or another. They're usually not going to sell a unit if they're not turning a profit, unless it's sort of a end of the month or end of the year or end of some time period like game where it's more important to sell 300 cars this quarter than it is to not lose $500 on one. We're at 299. Let's get to 300. Fuck a little loss. It's one of those deals.
I bought a Ford Focus for invoice price. It turned out to be like the last day of March. It was probably end of month, end of quarter. Maybe I could have done better. I don't know. But
You could have.
fuck.
Not much better, like not significantly better.
Yeah.
It's Focus. Like you could have done $600 better. if you got a nice Focus. Like there's more
No,
mark-
that was a
there's
stick
markup applied
shift.
to each option. So like the most expensive Focus has the most, margin to
I'm
move.
sure this was the cheapest Focus. It was like a stick shift piece
Or like
of shit.
$200. Yeah, could have got $200 more off. To just rest easy, Woody. Like, it's just fine. No
wanna
one made a
know.
dime off you that day. One thing for people to do though, because it's kind of the age of tons of online car buying and stuff, and there's so much information that you really can do your research, go into the dealership, and get the car for virtually less than what the dealer paid for it. Remember that salesman's putting in a few hours of time, so it's generally a cool thing to tip your salesman.
Well, that's horseshit. That can't be a thing. No one tips their car salesman, do they?
I've seen. Yes, absolutely. It's a nice thing to tip your car salesman because he's probably getting paid a lot less than you think.
What
if
if
you
I
got a
said
good deal.
this? What
If
if I
you're
said-
smart enough to be like listening to us right now, and then you know that the next time you buy a car, you're going to consider this, and maybe you're going to do a little research to get a better deal. You're not one of the people who we make money off of. We make money off of stupid people. They come in and just
What if I
sign
did this,
right up.
Kyle? What if
And
I
it's
went
game
back
over.
to the shark version of Kyle, and I said, dude, I'll give you $200 in your pocket if you can save me, $2,000.
Oh, I'd love for you to ask me that question. Just done. I wanted to offer that so many times. Like, the guy's like, I know that he's been whittling money out of me, but I know I still got like another 2,200 to go, and I'm doing the math in my head and like I'm like, shit. I want to be like, dude, how about this? I'll talk I'll knock $2,200 more off this car just between you and me. You give me half of it, all right? Like, I want to do that, but I know he's gonna like tell on me immediately, and then he's still gonna get that deal. But I'm not the one writing the paperwork up because I'm
Right.
fired now.
Uh-huh.
But absolutely, I always could that was in my head, and there were many times when I could have done it, like it would have made sense to do it. Where all I got to do is write a number here, you sign it, and he's gonna say yes. Like I know that for a fact in this scenario, and like. I want to offer that, but like I never would. I think it's probably a crime to do that. I'm not exactly sure what the charge.
It's probably a crime, but I put it in that same category as breaking the Call of Duty street date.
I was afraid.
Yeah.
No, this
Or
one.
like getting
this is
Sprite
fraud.
when you paid for water.
This is. I think that's fraud, and it would be because of like the large dollar
I think
amount.
it might
to
be
like,
embezzlement or
I
a
just popped it in my
kickback or
head.
something. I don't.
But yeah, that's totally a thing. Like, feel free to maybe bribe the guy. I never considered suggesting that to people, but totally, you could bribe the guy.
Yeah.
So, Kyle, you're obviously a very smooth speaker, and I could see how you would excel in this and be really good. What was because you said the finance guy would be in the back doing a bunch of work maybe for an hour, 2 hours. You're trying to entertain the dude. What were your tactics, like your go-tos, to keep people there? Like, to keep them cheery?
It would depend on how much money they were worth. Like if I was making a lot of money off their deal, there was one guy who was buying a Mustang Cobra, and it was like a 2000. I might be wrong about this. I know they only make the Cobras like once every couple of years, so correct me if I'm wrong. But I think it was the 2004 Mustang Cobra. It was the previous body style, the one before the 2005 when it got all retro, but it was mint. This thing had like 4,300 miles on it. It was black, convertible. I think it either had red leather interior or tan. Either way, it was all perfect. It was a 100% car, and we were charging like $40,000 for it or something. 30,000, 32, 30. Yeah, it was 32,000. It's in my head now. We're charging $32,000 for it. We had taken it in for $22,000. That's $10,000 of profit. I was going to get like a third of that in my pocket. So, and it was getting close to the end. It was like a Friday or something. Like this was going to cap off a pay period, and I wanted that money, and I needed it at the time, I think. And his credit was iffy. It was just right on the borderline. And like, I don't know, I took him out on a test drive with it. I was like, let's drive and get some dinner while they work on this thing. So like he drives the Cobra, he like takes me and the whole time he's like, no, I know what it can do. I know what it can do. I don't need to drive it. He refused to drive it. But you got to make him drive it. It's about the sizzle, not the steak. So he drives it, and it's so deep and throaty and sexy. And that 6-speed shifter is just tilted over to the left just perfectly. It fits your palm, and that clutch is so fucking stiff. It feels like you're operating a race car. This is a real SVT performance fucking machine. It's not an everyday street car anymore. You're in a race car now, sir. And I go buy him a burrito or whatever, and 6.5 hours later, his financing came through. My manager wouldn't take a dime off. He refused to not make $10,000 on that Mustang. So stuff like that, just kissing their ass, just entertaining their kids, fucking around with like other salesmen and like putting balloons on the other salesmen to make my people laugh. I used to do this prank to Rich Domville. If anybody knows the guy who's about 50 years old named Rich Domville, I'm so sorry, Rich, for the hell I was 19, dude. What the fuck? I couldn't help it. This guy, I ruined his days. Like he wasn't a good salesman. He started the same time as I did, and I was much better than he ever was. He never did very well, and he just had a hard time. And I would steal his chair, for his desk chair, while he was with customers, like just turned around for an instant, and I'd have it, and it was gone. And nobody would know what had happened. And he'd just be like, what the? And he'd have these meltdowns, and he'd lose customers. And we thought it was hilarious. But I was just kind of a prankster. On Saturdays, we always had helium balloons in the showroom, and I would tie the balloon to a paper clip, bend one end out so there was a hook. I'd walk up behind you and hook it on your belt loop. Now you're a walking clown. You just got a balloon with you all the time. Sometimes I'd write something on the balloon. You're greeting customers with the game eventually became how many balloons can you put on the guy before he knows it? like we'd get to 6 or 7 sometimes. There was this one guy who started, and he was really high strung. He just had a lot of nervous tics. He didn't get along with anyone. He was very overweight. He would sweat so much. He would just be soaking through the collars of his white shirts and stuff. But he was huge. He was like 6'6", I guess. I got to look up at this guy, and he had like his neck was like really craned forward. This big 45-year-old intimidating guy. And for some reason, I thought it would be a good idea to cover his phone headset, like the both ends of it, with ink from one of those ink sets, like that you use on stamps. Like the legit ink. I inked his phone. Then I go to my desk when my buddy saw, and I dial his extension. Fucking call him up. And it's big, goopy, like half circle here, and his whole ear on the inside is all black. He didn't notice for like an hour. But he knew who did it. He's fucking screaming at me in the middle of the showroom floor, like threatening me, like
Are you filled with regret at this point?
And I'm just laughing at him. It's great. So I was kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
That's a genuinely mean-spirited thing to do to another human being.
That every day. I did that every day. Like
Balloon thing's funny.
The balloon thing was funny. I would also tape balloons to the bathroom door. You just double-side Scotch tape, and then I would glue a thumbtack to the wall. So when the door opens, thumbtack plus balloon, and you get a loud explosion from a helium balloon in a bathroom, and just scared the fuck out of everybody all day long. And to the point where like the salesman who hadn't been pranked or who had already been pranked are just waiting on the next one. Like I added some fun to the office. It was a real. There's a lot of drudgery to it. Everybody's hauling in there every morning early as fuck, drinking our shitty bitter coffee, and needed to add some laughs to the day so there wouldn't be some cries.
I used to fuck with people at Cisco, but looking back, I'm not sure it was nice. So it mostly interns, right? If there was an intern that worked with me or for me, oh fuck, it was just dumb stuff. Like, you have a flat screen monitor. I'd swap it out with a CRT. Everyone had these office chairs that were like padded with arms and wheels on it. I'd give them a wooden stool. Just fuck with it. They go off to lunch, cube filled with boxes from head to toe. And sometimes the boxes look like trash. Like, it wasn't just nice, clean boxes. There's like packing materials and peanuts and shit like that, all stacked to the top. And, some of the interns would laugh and be like, all right, who's got my chair? Other people are like, oh, fuck, my chair got downgraded. Well, I guess this is my new life, sitting on a wooden stool.
That's that's like too high for the desk.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and I just mess with them all the time. You know, even dumb stuff like they had their names on the cubes, and I had to put a different name in there.
I've told the story about calling the salesman, pretending I was a customer, and like, you know, telling him I wanted him to take off his underwear and everything, right? Like I've told that one a bunch of times.
Maybe. I don't recall. It must have been a long while ago.
I'll tell it fast. I know people don't like it when you retell stories.
But if you tell them in fast forward, it's totally cool.
Yep.
I won't do that. I'll tell it in medium speed. I'll slow it down even more if I want to. Fuck you guys. So there was one guy who came to work at the dealership. His name was Mitty, M-I-T-I. He was from the same place as the water, Fiji, like the actual place. And he wouldn't tell us his last name ever. I think because he thought we'd mispronounce it, and like he wasn't interested in teaching us his name, and that pissed me off. Because it's like, well, you don't think I'm fucking capable of pronouncing your name? You're going to work here with me 78 hours a week and I can't fucking learn your name? Fuck you. So I already didn't like Mitty. I felt like his wife was a doctor and she was the real breadwinner of the family. And I felt like Mitty just had a chip on his shoulder because of that. And he was always just a little shithead. He's like 50 years old and I'm 19. Keep that in mind. But we're coworkers, and his English is very abrupt and sharp. And Mitty is quick to learn, but is not going well. And so I call Mitty from an inside line. I got like 3 or 4 of my buddies around me. I got Austin, my friend from Nigeria, this big black guy. I got my friend Saul from Lithuania. He's a skinny white guy that I ended up being roommates with. And I got Francisco, who's from fucking Mexico City, and he'd giggle like a schoolgirl. He's like 60 years old at the time. And so I call him up on his line. I see Mitty answer the phone. That's the best part, when you can physically get to see him engage with you. And it's like you get to do that. And I put on my gay voice, which is, it's a bit insulting. I won't do it now. Just stereotypical lispy gay voice. Hi there. How are you doing? I'd like to buy an F-150. Oh, absolutely. Well, I'll buy all the options, sweetie. So it just went on and on like that. Basically like pumping this guy up. Like, yeah, I'm ready to come in now. When I buy a car, I buy a car. I'm like taking any of his fears away. I'm letting him know I'm a customer. I'm coming in today. This is more of an appointment I'm setting up. I don't want to. You don't have to wine and dine me. I'm easy to bed here. I'm getting that across to him 100%. And then I drop the dime on him. I'm like, all right. But here's the thing. Every time I buy a car, I like to take a little something from the salesman. One guy took his tie. One guy took one of his socks. It was silly. I took another guy's belt when I bought a nice Camaro one year. With you, Mitty, I got to ask you. Could you do something like that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. You come in and buy the car today, we make a deal.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Mitty, I gotta ask, boxers or briefs? And it's just quiet, and you can see he's over there. Oh, and we're all just like fucking schoolgirls laughing our asses off. I'm like, let's hear. He's fucking
briefs.
I'm like, wow. I'll tell you what. I'll be there in 35 minutes, Mitty. I've got my brother. He's bringing me down. That way he can take my car home. I'm keeping it, but I want that F-150. So if he can get it brought around, I'll pay whatever the sticker price is. That's how I do business. No muff, no fuss. And I'm going to need that underwear in hand when I get there. And he agrees to it. Everything's sold. He walks past us to the bathroom to take off his underwear. And that's when we let him have it. He turned redder than any Asian man has ever turned. Like, he was so humiliated in a way that you can only humiliate an Asian man. Like a white guy could have shook this off, but not him. It was like I fucking chipped away at generations of honor. And we're in this face-off where I'm 6'2" of me in my like business in my like suit shoes or whatever. They're kind of lifted on the bottom. And he's all of like 5'5", and he fucking does this underhanded karate punch like this and punches me in the stomach. And I'm certainly not Bruce Wayne or anything, but if I see somebody gonna hit me in the stomach, I had enough like locker room bouts in high school to like tighten up really quick, and it didn't hurt at all. And I was just like, "The fuck's your problem, Mitty?" And I just pushed him. And when I pushed him, we were kind of up on this like raised platform, so he stumbles backwards and falls on some desk. And there's the general manager right there. CJ Turner just walked in, and he just saw me push this old guy down some stairs. He's like, Kyle, what you doing, Kyle? You're my soldier, Kyle. What you doing starting fights in the showroom floor?
Kyle's the assassin.
I was. He's my assassin. Not like this. Not like this. Chris Tucker or something. And I'm like, whoa. Let me explain. And I very quickly explained to him what had just happened. And he's just like, and then I didn't think it was possible. He turned even redder. Mitty turned even redder. And he never spoke to me again. Never looked at me again. Like, ever. That was the last time we ever had any sort of back and forth or even like eye contact from that day forward. He worked there for like another 10 months or something.
That was really, really fucking funny.
That was the MIDI
But
prank.
that is also really, really mean. Because this isn't just like a prank where you're like doing something with their tea or something where it's like, oh, there's not as much sweetener as you anticipated.
Yeah, I
Like,
put salt in your water.
Yeah, it's something where it's like he's sitting there like, oh my god, I can sell this car. My wife, she can get a new dress. We'll be able to go out this month. My kids, they can buy. I'll be able to get the N64. I'll be the hero that they want me to be. And then it's some little shit-eating punk sitting across the way,
It's
giving
me
you a
over here.
shit. Oh Lord, man, the way you described this sounds like it was Animal House in the showroom. Like, what were customers doing as you were berating Asian men for
See, that's the
taking
thing.
their underwear off?
It's only busy at certain times. We're doing this because there's nothing else to do.
Why
There
are you
are no
working
customers.
so many hours then? You said you have to work tons of hours. Can't you just cherry pick the good ones?
No, you got to be there in case somebody strolls in. Because if somebody walks in at a weird time, it might be because they took off work.
It seems like
Buy the card.
you
got to be there
could
like,
work 20% of the hours and make 80% of the money.
You're like a fishnet. It's you could
Seems like
you
it's
could.
all in this game. Like, you
It's a
gotta be
numbers
there.
game. Like yeah, on Saturday afternoon, that's when you're going to be able to see a lot more people, but that doesn't mean you can call in on Tuesday. You got to be there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's a grind. You got to be that net in the ocean waiting on, because the contacts you make on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, those are some of your guaranteed sales on Saturday. Those are the guys who come back and actually do buy. That's how it works. I don't know how else to put it. It's if you don't put in all those crazy hours, it just doesn't seem productive.
Well, this guy got his money's worth out of his Patreon question.
He sure did. Well, Patreon,
There you
we
go.
thank you for
Some
getting that
value.
out of
So it
Kyle.
costs like $10.
Yeah, that's a steal.
Hop on board.
Hop on board. Patreon.com/PKA. Annotations on the side. Link in the description. Let's do more.
Okay.
I'm looking. This one keeps grabbing my eye. My question is, should I take a job that doubles my current salary and is full-time, $44K per year, or go back to my old job, $8 an hour, and finish school faster? I presume he means like college, university. Full-time at $44K or
It depends how
part-time.
much faster.
That's not double, by the way, because $8 per hour is 16 grand per year. So 44K is like triple.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I think you should take the
What's he studying?
44,000 and continue. Yeah, we need more information, and it depends how much slower we're talking. But I think you take the 44K because that's not too shabby, and you continue with your schooling, and you get done as soon as you can.
Yeah, I'm tempted to
Yeah.
say take the money unless you think there's a real chance that you'll quit school. You know,
Yeah.
if you earn
Yeah.
44K without school and you decide that this is good enough for you, whereas you otherwise would have launched yourself into the 6 digits, but instead you're there forever, then you've made a career mistake.
Yeah, there are a lot of contingencies because, like, presumably there's nothing going to be keeping you from going back later in life. Like, it looks like you got an opportunity now for that amount of money a year. Do that for a couple of years. If you hate it, go back and finish school. But don't turn away a sure thing like that. And of course, this depends how much that is relatively by where you're living or, you know, what expenses he has. But I think that's the good option. And if you're like majoring in engineering or something where it's going to be a computer, you know, something where you know you're going to have a great job right out of college, then maybe just stick with the school, get done with it, and enter the workforce in that career. But if you're doing like English Lit or something that you just are doing because you enjoy it, absolutely take that money. And then if you want to finish it up because it's a passion later in life, then do that.
Yeah. Yeah, but don't take the job if it means you're not actually going to finish school. You should probably finish school. You'll be glad you did. I was wondering if the hosts have had a midlife crisis, and if so, what was it? If not, what do they think that theirs will consist of? Have you had a midlife crisis? You guys are a little young for that. And what do you think yours will be about if you get one?
I don't think I'll have one because I think that's something that happens when you don't do the things that you want to do in life. I think that's when you get to the midpoint of your life and you look back at what you've done and you think it's lame and you're like, I didn't take advantage of this opportunity and that opportunity and now I'm just drudging away and the drudgery's never going to end now, is it? So hopefully I don't get to that point. I don't think any of us here will. I hope not anyway.
There was a thing, and I've told this story many times, but so I worked at Cisco for a good long time. I think it was 13 years. And I never really considered that there were more entertaining lives out there, right? It wasn't until YouTube happened. I did it forever. And then something it popped in my head, as I watched Kyle do his job and other YouTubers do their thing. I think I was talking to White Boy a lot at the time. And it was just look at these people. And I swear it would literally happen. I'd stick my head above the cube and look around and this is soul sucking for me. Somehow my expectations just went higher and you see a sea of cubes. I don't know if you guys have ever been in an office environment where there's a sea of cubes and you see over all of them. And there's 250 people in my sight that I can see all of them working there, just hands on the keyboard, face on the monitor. And I had done that for 20 years, although not all of it at Cisco. And it would I don't know if you call it a midlife crisis, but it became this sort of I want to try something else. There's a better life out there, and it's not an awful life. I mean, if you look at my life pre-YouTube, you roll the dice, a 6-sided die, it was probably a 4 or 5. But I didn't know there were 6s out there, that they were realistic for me. And, so
now you've got yourself a real thick 6.
Yeah, but I don't know. So midlife crisis, if you call it that, I decided to sort of take a flyer on myself. And I've talked about this betting on yourself stuff too. I see people you know what? I'm going to bet on me. I'm going to be a full-time YouTuber. Meanwhile, they're getting 1,000 views a video. No, asshole.
Bad bet! Bad bet!
Bad bet! Bad bet! If you want to bet on yourself, fucking, stack the deck before you place your bet. Don't just be I'm going to jump off a cliff and give it a go and hope that things are okay. Stack the deck, asshole. You lazy piece of shit. If you're not stacking the deck before you bet on yourself, what the fuck is wrong with you? Work, asshole. Work 2 jobs. Do whatever it takes. Fucking set yourself up for success before you take this chance. And I've watched person after person on YouTube bet on themselves, and I swear everyone's going to think I'm talking about one guy, but I'm not. I'm talking about lots of people. And stack the deck so that when you make this bet, it's a sure thing. That's how you do it. When I left Cisco, I was making as much off YouTube as I was from Cisco. If it wasn't a bad bet, it was a good bet. And so I guess if I'm answering the midlife crisis question again, to circle back to it, I feel sometimes the midlife crisis isn't so much that this is terrible. It can also take the form of there's a better life. And, it certainly wasn't oh my gosh, I've made it here. And this is a train wreck. I'm not satisfied with where I am. It was just I wonder what else we can do about this. And,
that's a good answer.
And that's where that happened to me.
That's a very good answer. So why don't you make a short clip of that? Very motivating.
Definitely so.
Well done, Woody.
I didn't know it was good.
I can't even begin to answer this question. I'm 24.
Hey, you're way too young.
I have no perspective. Yeah.
I'm way too young as well.
How different? Because the 18-year-old version of you would have tackled it head on. Oh, I know. I will never have this midlife crisis because I have it all figured out.
sophomore in high school, Taylor, he could have told you a thing or two about this.
I like the question about asking me if I'd ever do another boot camp. I definitely would. So I think I'd be willing to do one for Chiz for free. Just bring yourself and let's have some fun.
Is he still heavy enough to constitute that? Because I haven't seen him in a while, but I figured he was losing quite a bit with his diet.
He needs to get physical with it. I think he stays cooped up too much. I think we need to get him out there doing some Jeremy pulls. Get him dressed up like a gorilla or something, doing some jumping jacks, swatting at drones as they fly at him like King Kong. We could have some fun this time around.
Can I jump in? On the Chiz thing, I think, in my opinion, losing weight's not about the activity; it's about the diet. Like it's diet. You can't exercise away a bad diet. But I think that what Chiz does is he hits the diet hard and he kind of yo-yos with it. Like it comes and goes. Some weeks he'll be mega disciplined, more than a Hollywood star, and then the next week not so much.
Yeah, I didn't want to make it a Chiz thing. I was just saying for Chiz, I would do one for free. However, I think if I were going to do that again for like anybody else that I can even think of, I would have to charge just to make it. For one thing, to keep myself in check, because if I'm not getting paid, I'm gonna have a hard time. I'm not gonna be as motivated. And for another, it's just too much of my time I saw last time to just give away for free. It was a big commitment on my part that I made, and it took precedent over a lot of other things that I had going on at the time.
What would the charge be? Have you thought about it?
It would, yeah,
it'd be high. I mean, for a month. I mean,
for a month, somewhere between 15 and 30,000. It would be absurd. It's too expensive to do. I'm not saying like don't come to the FPS Kyle boot camp starting at only $15,000. I'm saying like if you wanted me to do that again, like you'd have to pay me like $500 a day. You just would. I don't know why else I would do it.
The man's a multi-trillionaire. He's not going to do this for free. Yeah, his time is too valuable.
That is. Oh, you'd have to do some like guaranteed results.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
like,
absolutely, totally.
Have one person in for a lower price that like you see in them, you can just turn it around like boom, and then have them as the poster child. Yeah,
people
and
were
then
trying to make that.
Price.
Wasn't Wings trying to like do that with somebody at one point? Wasn't he trying to become someone's poster child? I think I think he had like weight loss supplements like contacting him on Twitter or something like that, and they wanted him to like be their poster child. And I was like, wait a fucking minute, he's my poster child.
My mother, I don't know if I told this story, but my mom called me this week, and she listens to every minute of this show. So hi, Mom.
Oh,
and yeah.
Hi, Woody's mom.
Yeah, she knows all about your handy. Yeah. so anyway, that's all right. If you've watched the show much, my mom's not a virgin. So anyway, back on topic. She's like, oh, I bet you'd like to see your fat mom right now. My mom's lost a bunch of weight. I haven't seen her since Christmas or something like that. And she's lost a bunch of weight. It's partly through exercise, but it's partly through medicine. Like I think she's taking testosterone, like she's older and putting her hormones back at the level that maybe a younger woman would have, T and E and who knows what. And I don't want to get her meds wrong, but I thought someone said there was an ADD medicine in there, ADHD medicine, which everyone knows sort of ups your energy level and kind of lowers your appetite. So you take all those things and put them together. And apparently, I have a skinny mom.
Ooh.
And
good for her.
Imagine the punishment she must be taking. He was wearing her out when she was a little heavy. As she slims down and becomes more and more attractive, she's gonna need she's gonna need like some sort of like professional grade help down there. She's gonna have to. He's going to be tearing that up. And there's not as much cushion there anymore.
Man.
That's true.
From all angles.
Friction fires in bed. How much they're doing.
Friction fires in bed.
God, yeah. I hate to have a cabin attached to theirs on one of those fucking Disney cruises. Like, I hope those
Oh,
balls.
they would ruin your vacation.
Yeah.
And then like they are older, so they're not in their prime. So if you did hear something going on, you'd be like, all right, something's happening, something's going on, and then they come out and they're 75,
Ready.
and it's like, oh, ew.
Are they? I'm just wondering. Are they really into like what do you call it? Like public displays of affection? Is there a lot of kissing and hugging and touching in public? Like if when they're on the railing of this boat,
Yeah.
this Disney cruise,
I
they're
think-
looking at. Are they going to be getting a little grabby and making out a little and hugging on each other?
Not that. No. They would be hugging. Certainly some hand holding, possibly some hand on waist action, like that dual kind of couple waist hold thing. And I think my mom is definitely down with inappropriate touching, but she is, Murkas' girlfriend, 50 years experience advanced.
Oh, wow.
You would have a hard time catching my mom. It's very rare.
I see. So she's like a hand job ninja.
That's actually what I call her around that.
Oh, that's awful.
That's gross.
Mr. Woodworth, this is a new segment of the show we'll be doing every week called "What's New with Woody's Mom."
Yeah. No, she very rarely gets caught, but I know that it happens, and I suspect it happens a lot more often than I know. But yeah, she's affectionate.
Wow.
I think she's a good wife. So
It sounds like it. 'Cause that's something that usually fizzles away once you get that old, either out of disinterest or out of just not having the tools to do it. Like you're just so old, it's like you just can't. I don't know how old they are.
they're in their 60s. I think my father might be. I'm gonna probably get this wrong, but if I were to toss out numbers, I'd say 67 and 65.
So that's not super old yet. Like I was thinking more like once you get to like 76 or something, it almost gets to be like just dust on bone. No, just nothing.
One thing
Dust
that's
on
interesting.
bone.
Just dryness and friction and disinterest on both sides because you're more interested in watching Hannity and there's just stuff you want to do.
You're not far off on the Hannity thing.
Not at all.
What was I gonna say? I had a thing on the tip of my tongue. My parents. It wasn't just sex. Hopefully it
Well,
comes
hopefully
back.
not. I was thinking about my parents, and it wasn't just about fucking or sex or they're like in bed. No, that can't be right. That's usually what dominates my thoughts about.
I don't remember. Oh, it was about sex. I was gonna retell the story. Just like I feel like the defining, like, I remember one time I got into a fight with a friend of mine because my mother had I've told this story before, but he was my best friend. He was making fun of me because I somehow mentioned that my mom had I guess we'll call it like a growth or some sort of tumor or a lump. A lump is the best word to use on like her pubic mound or something like that. And I didn't know what to think of it or make of that or whatever. It was like, oh, my mom has a lump on her pubic mound. How embarrassing. She had to like have a doctor help her with it or something. It wasn't until like 20 years later, I was like, wait a minute. What was that thing called? And like, look, it was from repeated pounding. Like that was the source of her injury. Repeated pounding on my mom's.
Rough sex.
Just trauma. Blunt force trauma.
Could you imagine the beating it's going to be taking? Right now, I'd say.
Right now, they are on a
It's
Disney
11
cruise somewhere.
11 p.m. They're somewhere off the coast of Alaska.
That's not. It's something. I think they're going to Greenland. Last time she called me as they were exiting port, and I think they took the ship from Florida to New York City, and they were exiting New York, and like cell phone reception was going to be cutting out before long as they headed into deeper water, and they were headed up, I think, to Greenland or Iceland or something like that. So yeah, so right now they're on a cruise ship at 11 p.m. or maybe it's a little. What would it be later there? Because they're probably a time zone or two east. But yeah, they live a vacation life. So that's a thing.
You got another one?
Sure. If you had an opportunity to have a second home anywhere in the world, where would you want to live?
There's lots of great places. That's hard to say.
I'm gonna expose my my like ignorance on geography, but I want to say like somewhere or the Netherlands and Finland and Norway, are they the Baltic states? like that trio of states. I'm sure this will be on the PKA subreddit. Someone who lives there and like knows.
Could you repeat that?
The Baltic states. I think it might be Norway, Finland, and the Netherlands.
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. Yeah, well,
I've never heard the term the Baltic states, so like, I think I'm just out of the loop.
Okay, so I was thinking somewhere up there. They have a really good like standard of living. The people are known to be like kind and courteous, and it's one of the happiest. Like they do these like national rankings on where people are the most content and happy, and they always seem to do well. So wouldn't it be nice to summer in like Norway, and then like I could spring, fall, and winter in the South in America here in North Carolina. Just a thought.
Yeah. I'm not sure. That's a hard one. I don't know. There's so many beautiful places. I would have to sit down and really think about that before I could make a really educated decision. Though New Zealand is always on the top list of like beautiful places, it seems, because I've seen the Lord of the Rings.
Or maybe it'd be a surfing place for me. Maybe if transportation's a big deal too. Like if I hypothetically could teleport to this other home, I might drop it in like Fiji or something and just surf and enjoy it and get to bounce back here. But if it's really about having a second home in the realistic world, then maybe I'd try to balance the seasons. That's probably how I do it. Huh. Well, Kyle, you probably not, but maybe looking to buy a new place. You like being where you are. You like having your family. Your father
definitely
in particular.
Geographically, that part's not going to change too much. I don't think I'm going to move across country. Probably not.
Allow me to go morbid on you. You'll outlive your father, right? So fast forward however many years that is. Do you suddenly get like super mobile and say, you know what? I am only going to live in the best place in the world, and that best place might be here.
Maybe. I guess I could conceive of doing something like that. It's hard to say.
Because in my head, your roots aren't really to your community or your town or whatever. You're close with your father.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So yeah, I could see moving at that point. Realistically speaking, I'm about to like do some stuff that's going to root me to here pretty dramatically. Though
the brothel
maybe
you're starting.
I could totally see getting like an apartment somewhere else. Maybe like if there was some city somewhere else that I'd like to be like a part-time resident of. I mean, $1,000 a month. Maybe there's enough money laying around to just have a second residence somewhere. That's not too bad of an idea. And I could just kind of visit Chicago whenever I wanted to, or Denver whenever I wanted to, or Los Angeles or something like that. And one of the cheaper ones couldn't do that in Los Angeles.
We were talking about your new business on PKN, and the conversation's like it's been replaying in my head, right? You said, Woody, you thought this Minecraft thing was going to be nothing, right? And it turned out to be fantastic. And I was like, right. And I think that your brothel, let's say, is going to be amazing. So what does that tell you? If I thought this was this and this is this, then how high is this really going to be? And you're like, it tells me you're bad at estimating.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah.
No. Yeah.
It'll be medium to. I mean, it could do really well, but you'll just have to wait and see. And I won't get my hopes up or anything. I think it's going to be definitely worth doing, and then we'll just kind of see from there.
Every whore in Vegas and Thailand and Dominican Republic will be using your product, and it'll go worldwide, global, and you'll crush it.
Yeah, I still think I should do the energy drink. I think that should be my thing.
Well, my heart belongs to Gamma right now.
Some Russian crunk juice or something. It's got vodka in it for purity, and I think that would be the way to go.
What happens when you dehydrate vodka? Like,
I saw powdered alcohol on Reddit today.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, did you see the Navy's the railgun demonstration?
Is it something new?
Yeah, here it is. This is in GIF form.
Because go on. I'll see what you got here.
So it uses it's electromagnetically fired. There's no like powder being burnt or explosive or fuel or anything like that. That didn't send. Let me.
Or there might be powder being burnt, but you can choose which round, and they're all stacked in the tube. No.
No, that's a totally different thing. So this is a rail gun. You're thinking of something like the where the rounds are sequentially stacked. It's like
Yes.
rounds and projectile. That's different. That's electronically fired. Like it uses an electrical burst to ignite that powder, so it can fire in super fast succession, crazy rates of fire. Because there's no moving pieces in that sort of thing. But this is a rail gun. This is using, I think, electromagnetism to fire this projectile.
Oh, so it took me a while to understand it. Like, because I hear rail and I don't even like. I'm like, do I understand what that means? Fences have rails and trains have rails. This thing is launched electromagnet. So magnets suck it through a tube super fast and then push it out the end.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea they could do that. So what is this going through? Is that like really thick steel plates or something that it just bursts through like 10 of them?
Yeah, I think so. That's and there's no explosives there, so all that fire is just kinetic energy.
Really?
That's pretty ridiculous.
FPS Russia makes a 22 that can do this.
Well, close, yes.
That's pretty neat. I wonder what the future of guns is. It seems like we've been on the gunpowder thing for a really long time.
The Navy's new railgun, maybe.
Yeah, but how could that work for like a individual firearm?
Oh,
It just seems like you need a really big power source. On the other hand, what is it called? The thing I was thinking of, where the rounds are stacked and you can.
like the G11 was the original one. But they use it. They use that technology in like anti air stuff now, because the rate of fire is almost exponential. When you keep adding barrels, it becomes like millions of rounds a minute and stuff like that, and just sort of sounds like a. And you're like, we just shot 120,000 times. It's like, holy shit, because it's like bullet powder, bullet powder, bullet powder stacked in a barrel. And so if you've got a computer to figure out how to send those electric impulses to fire each round in sequence at the perfect time, then the rate of fire is almost limitless.
Do you have a clip of one of those?
Yeah. What's
Or
it called?
just a
Like
GIF?
isn't it called like the
I don't know.
bee's nest or something crazy like that?
The bee's nest.
Yeah,
Striking
sounds-
fear.
Yeah,
Didn't even use hornets.
I can't think. Hellstorm, I think. Yeah, I think it's called Hellstorm.
That sounds
think
more right.
you're
Usually
right.
they
Right.
get something
That
scary.
sounds scarier.
Yeah.
No, Hellstorm's already a missile.
That's not it then. It's something storm maybe. I can't remember. Metal
I guess
Storm?
it's not the Hornet
Yeah,
gun.
It's Metal Storm.
Metal Storm. Great band name.
I have a video.
Yeah, you're
It's-
right.
It's a minute and a half long ish.
Oh, I found it.
Did you? Same video?
I'm
A.
curious.
Clark 79.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Are we all on my video or some other video?
No, we're all on yours.
All right, ready, set, play. It's not impressive at all, but I think it will be.
Yeah, it's gonna ramp up. They can't start you at a 10. Work you at 1 just to show how impressive it is. 30 rounds a minute necessary. What would this even be used for?
That's
Shooting down other projectiles.
So this, for those listening, this isn't even a regular looking gun. It's just what looks like a big speaker almost square with 2 adjacent squares of barrels, one on top of the other. And now it's shooting 1 million rounds per minute.
but
So
only
it's just gonna
180
go-
rounds.
Yeah, it's just going to go. Yeah, it just kicked uniformly. Like they all came out at once.
Yeah.
1 million rounds a minute.
No, this is the same
Here's the
thing.
impact.
Oh, okay. The target impact.
What is the target? Just wood?
Drywall.
Drywall.
It.
Who would have expected that 1 million rounds a minute would do that to something like drywall?
It's only
Remember all those
180
enemies we
rounds.
fought,
I want
their
to see them.
drywall armor. and their cardboard swords.
Here's
I'd
slow
like-
motion.
I want to see 10,000 rounds shot.
Oh, well, that wouldn't work.
Wow, that slow motion was worth. They need this like. I've got better slow mo guns in my closet than that shit.
That's pretty bad.
Well, they spent all their money on ammunition.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing.
I can't even imagine a practical application for that. That couldn't
Shooting-
be done in a better way.
If you're gonna shoot down a missile or something, maybe.
That's the thing I was thinking. At first, I was like, it fires such a big solid block. Why not just fire like an artillery? You know, if you're trying to make something go bang. But Kyle's right. If you're trying to effectively fire like a net of trouble in the air, then this is the way you do it. You know, you aim that thing at a plane and it has to fly through 180 rounds or 360 rounds. That's what it is. It's a flying net of shrapnel.
Yeah. It would auto. You would want it set up so that it could auto sense like grenades or missiles incoming and shoot, a couple hundred
And
rounds.
It seems a lot cheaper. Like I'd rather have the tracking system on the sentry gun to launch its stuff than to have it in the missile. At which point, like everything I take down costs me $1 million. Is that a cheaper way to win a war?
Yeah.
We haven't found one.
So the U.S. spends more than I've heard the next 6 countries combined, the next 10 countries combined in military and such. But I don't know that we could take the next 10. No, we spend more, and that's what we spend 10 times as much. That's why we're twice as good. I don't think we're spending it like really efficiently. And some of this is like the GI Bill and shit like that. It's not even winning wars; it's investing in your country.
I saw that ISIS had taken a city only 70 miles from Baghdad, Kobani maybe. I don't know forgive my Iraqi geography, but I remember that they were mentioning it was one that a lot of Americans had died in the taking of, and I guess it's one of those things where it's just like, what was the fucking point? Like, why did we do all that? Like, now it's fallen to actual like villains.
Yeah, right. Saddam had it. Who's whatever.
Who was just he fits right in with the nut jobs that we just are happy that they're not making war left and right. You got that nut job in North Korea, and there's always some kooky fucker ruling a country somewhere. Why did this one have to go?
Yeah. Now ISIS is taking over cities. Have you seen the footage of ISIS executing a guy with a bazooka?
I have not.
Would
Well,
you
that
like
seems
to?
wasteful.
I tell you, when I watched it,
If it's an RPG,
Also-
those things are cheap. So
Oh,
let's see this. I'm sorry that I reacted that way, but this is gonna be funny if they shoot this guy with a fucking bazooka, man. If they shoot him with an RPG or something.
how is that whole situation going? I have not followed it at all.
Okay.
Are they gaining ground?
Kind of medium.
Just kind of a stalemate almost.
Oh, here's the video.
All
Oh,
right.
this guy look.
scroll down a bit. There's like 2 images and then a video. I hit play by accident, so let me go back to the start there. Are you ready?
So it
I'm
is
queued
an
at
RPG.
0.
7 seconds in. I'm trying.
I can go to 7.
I'm at 0 now. I'm at 0. You guys ready?
I am ready to go.
Ready, set, play. Aha. Now some of you might find this upsetting. Oh shit, I almost didn't have it on the screen.
They have an RPG and they have a man tied to a post.
Looks like a telephone pole kinda, but it's not.
Yeah.
But that's
They're
what it
kind of
looks
very
like.
backyard. They've backed up to, I'm going to say, about 40 yards away. A safe distance to shoot a man with an RPG. By the way, this is a pretty good shot if he's going to hit this guy.
I was gonna ask you that.
He's clearing the crowd from around him so the backblast won't damage him. He's taking aim. The cameraman is bad at this. He really should be aiming at the...
I couldn't even tell it was so fast, and the cameraman kind of panned.
Well,
real slowly.
scroll down a bit and you can see some still images of what happened. On
So
the
did he
left,
hit right above the guy, and it kind of just immolated him.
I think he hit him.
I think he hit him in the chest.
Jesus,
That was
what an
outrageous.
awful thing to do.
One thing to keep in
What a
mind.
soulless thing to do.
Everybody thinks of an RPG as just an RPG, but there's lots of different kinds of actual grenades to put in an RPG. There's lots of them. There's armor-piercing rounds, there's anti-personnel rounds, and there's various types of each. And then there's all kinds of incendiary rounds, high explosive, and I don't know what this is, but it's not a bad way to die. I'd much rather get shot with an RPG than a rifle. That guy died instantly, and it was kind of Looney Tunes the way they did it.
Yeah. I don't think that's a good way to die.
It's
on
not a bad
camera.
way. Oh, that's how I want to go. That's exactly how I want to die. What are you talking about? Just like
Well,
this?
You know,
That's
realistic. Like, in all seriousness, though, would
how
you
many views
like
that shit would
truly? Like, I know it's like the fun thing to say, like, no, I want you to film me as I, try to tackle a moving train or something. And it's like that, like when you're really old and you have a terminal disease or something. But would you really want that to be the image that like your family saw, like all that, them knowing? I don't think so. That seems pretty uncouth.
I didn't see that bad. It seems like instant dead, big time, like a fly getting squashed or something. I mean, they shot him with a rocket propelled grenade. He just turned into it. He exploded. That was.
Yeah.
I liked that a few of the other assholes like chipped in and added a little AK-47 fire just to make sure. Like, I don't even know what they're even shooting at.
I thought that was a celebratory shooting. I could be. That was how I interpreted it.
Maybe so.
Well, it's certainly better than those videos with like the saws, like where you're just
Yeah.
a horrible, gory, like Halloween movie style shit that's just gut wrenching. Like this is certainly better than that. No argument there.
He didn't put up a bit of complaints either. He didn't say a fucking word. He knew this. If he was like, no, please, nothing. All right, the knife. Like they're gonna start sawing. As soon as if they start with RPG, shut up.
There's nowhere to go but down from there.
Yeah.
But up, I guess, in the pain sphere.
Yeah, it's better than getting hung from like a lamppost or something and burned alive or something crazy like that. Yeah, it's not a bad way to go in the grand scale of things.
I'm also trying. So ISIS is crazy, right? ISIS is the world's worst people. They're awful. They're terrible. They execute for no reason, etc., etc. They're the splinter group off Al Qaeda because Al Qaeda wasn't extreme enough. I've heard that. I don't know.
Is that what they are? I have no idea what group. I thought they were independent.
I read it on the internet, so place all the faith in it that deserves.
None. All right.
But I wish I could get like a better vibe for the actual truth. Like we saw ISIS execute a bunch of people, right? Okay. Well, like, is that they're at war, right? And they shot him in the back of the head. It was kind of a quick instant death thing. We see ISIS execute people like with a bazooka, and I think how far is that from like electroshock? From the electric chair that we do.
Really far, because we didn't like in World War II. We didn't come across a German town and then massacre 10,000 people. To my knowledge, we didn't do that. Well, the Germans didn't do that to us.
No, we literally bombed towns in Germany.
We bombed. Yeah, that's true.
I don't see how that's a lot different than a bazooka. Like in terms of morality.
It's totally different, though. It's coming from a different place.
It is different.
Like there's a difference between bombing Hamburg because you want the Germans to surrender and end World War II, and like tying this guy to a phone pole and shooting with a missile. And it's just like, who's the guy that shot him? Was he like the Lord Commander? I doubt it. That's Hawkmed, the RPG guy. He's got lots of them. Like he's from
they got
down
the best
block.
RPG shot in the tribe.
He's not an authority on anything. He's just the guy that his buddy had a cell phone. He had an RPG and a prisoner. Let's make it happen. Like,
I certainly don't want to be an ISIS apologist. We all know that's lefty. But just jokes, people. But
it's true.
I do find kind of a moral equivalence between dropping bombs on city, like what we did to Tokyo, right? We dropped so many bombs on that city, we set it on fire, right? The reason we bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, thank you, is that Tokyo was already apparently there's a lot of wooden construction there, and we just firebombed the fuck out of it. I'm sure that a lot of people burnt in that, and a lot of civilians died. Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, it's a firebombing. Yeah, that we did it to the Germans and the Japanese. I think there's a big difference, huge difference.
I think there is a difference insofar as one of those decisions it's made by a small contingent of people, and the overwhelming majority of the troops don't have a say in that. Whereas with this, it's like everyone in there is on board. They're all more than happy to walk up and just execute someone. It's just
really that's the difference.
It's not just that. All right, so
not
why
just that.
We were bombing those cities because we had to get surrender. They had come here. They had this in a sneak attack. They killed thousands of Americans. There's a direct correlation. We're ending what they started. We're saving our honor as a country and as a people. That war meant something. When we're fighting evil in many ways, the vivisection and the horrible human experiments the Japanese were part of, Here's the reason you hate the Nazis so much. The Jews have a better PR firm. Like, they just do. Like, there's millions of atrocities committed by the Japanese. And the 6 million, the Holocaust is just one of the horrible things that happened during World War II. Tens of millions of Russians died. But specifically with Japan, they were super evil. They needed a good, like, wiping out. Like, those people that we were burning, those weren't like our people who might have been. I know our people are pretty hardcore too, but those people were training with spears. They were getting ready to fight an invasion of the mainland that would have cost over 1 million U.S. casualties. When you weigh the lives of 100,000 Japanese versus 1 million Americans plus another 3 million Japanese, which is what would have happened by the end of an invasion to Tokyo, it's a much better decision. These guys, these ISIS guys, it's the Islamic states of Iraq and Syria. These guys are starting a religious caliphate, a kingdom based upon their misconception of Islam. Part of that is conquering, killing, and destroying anything that doesn't go along with that. And that's just a completely different ideology and a completely different rule set from what we were going through in World War II. Even then, we had rules. I mean, we have rules about the way we kill our enemies and the way we want them to kill us. But these guys don't. It's a group of thugs that are operating on a 5th century kind of mentality, I think.
Well,
Yeah.
that was very well put. I can't even go back and confirm or deny how I feel about all of it, but I think you are right insofar as this isn't deterring some other huge form of violence that's going to happen if they quit executing people on the street for no reason. Like, it's not a deterrence to any further violence. They're the ones kind of causing this. Like, they're the initiators. They're kind of the stop and end of this. I don't know how they think they've been slighted or why they're doing this.
It was that whole going into Iraq thing and killing 1 million of their friends and family, I think.
Well, that certainly played a part. But
that would frustrate me as well.
That might frustrate a lot of people.
It would. It's just so complicated. It's hard to compare over different times, too. Because who knows? Maybe, like, Americans, like some soldiers, would have done really fucked up things if there was a guy with a video camera there that they knew that all the enemies were going to see this.
The only thing is, in World War II, you don't hear widespread reports of, like, lots of American rapes or lots of American civilian deaths and stuff like that. Now, certainly the Air Force and the aerial forces, because of the Navy, killed civilians because they bombed from the sky. Like, that's just nature of the way that they attack. Yeah. But more or less, like, it was soldier v soldier. Whereas in Vietnam, it was soldier v country, and it got messier.
It is a lot easier to whitewash it when you're not in the information age.
Yeah.
And now that incentivizes people to do things just for the sake of intimidation. Like, hey, should we just shoot this guy? No, let's do this to him because we know everybody over there is going to see this video.
As far as mistreating,
and they're going to be afraid of us.
As far as the mistreatment of civilian populations, the Germans were pretty good to the Europeans. They were terrible to the Russians. They did a lot as they pushed into Russia. They did lots of things, lots of ethnic cleansing and stuff like that. Mass graves and that sort of thing. They seemed to be pretty nice to the French. If you look at history, they certainly fought the resistance.
Big deal out of mass graves.
Now, you got to bury them somehow.
Yeah, oh my God, they didn't give individual graves. Can you believe this? Yes, I completely believe it.
I think the outrage isn't that they didn't get an individual grave. It's just like the photos of, like, holy shit, like the sheer scale of this, and to know that this isn't all of it. This is just a drop in the bucket compared to what else was happening. It's just an easier way for yourself to quantify.
All this talk I have is me being defensive about being manipulated by the press. Like, oh, these people are flat out evil, they're terrible, etc. And I think, all right, let's take a step back, pretend you were impartial. Now, how do we feel on this? They just killed a guy with a bazooka, right? Is it awful? Sure, absolutely. But in the realm of killing people because you have a cause, I don't know that the bazooka is so much more evil than a rifle or an electric chair or whatever. It was just kind of splashy and flashy. And it's a bazooka kill. All mass graves. You're right. Mass graves make them outstanding photo ops. Like, oh, look at all these dead bodies here in one spot. But the truth is, you get that many dead in lots of battles. The only difference is they buried them all in one spot.
Well, it's also who's getting buried. Is it a lot of civilians? Because a lot of ISIS seems to be into the civilian killing game. I was going to get two of the worst atrocities in World War II. Some of the ones like committed upon civilian populations. Where I think the Japanese and I think it was Nanking.
The rape of Nanking.
The rape of Nanking. That's exactly it. And like when you see what the Russians did when they got into German territory, they just raped every woman in Berlin. Like 9 out of 10 women were raped or something like that. When they got to Germany, they raped every woman they could lay their hands on. So I think the Americans really didn't do a lot of that. There's not a lot of evidence of that. I haven't seen a lot of that.
It would come out, right? There are a lot of Americans there, right? You don't have 250,000 people keeping a secret.
Part of the reason for that is we were mostly a liberation force. You know, we're going through. When we went through France, I don't think we had to rape anybody. They were pretty happy to see us coming through. You know, they were putting out. But even when we got to Germany, and there's stories about them like making the townsfolk go out to the extermination camp or the concentration camp and like help with the disposal of bodies and stuff, and letting them see what's been going on. 5 miles down the road, like. That's the worst I really hear sometimes. I really don't hear a lot about Americans being brutal and like unfair. But maybe there's been some whitewashing.
And with stuff like Nanking, that was like there's a lot more history between China and Japan as far as animosity, just a revulsion for one another, especially back then. I don't know now what the feelings are, but
I think
back
they're
then
still
it was like
the same rivalries.
Yeah, like that wasn't just.
They're both right.
Yeah, that was like aggravation that reached back beyond even like when the U.S. was formed, like and way before that as well. Like it was centuries of hatred that just came to a peak. It seems.
Yeah, that was terrible. If you don't know anything about the rape of Nanking, just Google it and read on Wikipedia for a little while. Quite terrible. World War II stuff. Rough.
Yeah, and I feel like I've been wrong about most things I said tonight. So. But again, it just comes from a position like I want to ask the questions. That's all.
I
understand
what you're doing.
Yeah.
And of course, someone's going to be like, Woody was, apologizing.
You're breaking up.
Yeah, that wasn't.
You're
that bad. But am I better?
Not yet. Yeah. But I think what he was saying is,
I'll be
people are
glad
going to
now.
say Woody was an ISIS apologist, and that's not actually my biggest concern. They're going to say Woody's ignorant of the events. That's not actually. I don't think that's right. No, although to some extent it probably is. But the bigger thing is like I hear it and I just don't accept it. I want to like question it. I want to question it because I can't be sure that, like. Whatever that I see what ISIS is doing. I see them killing civilians. I see them doing stuff, and I just wonder, like, all right, but put in the context of a war. Here's one: Saddam Hussein killed lots of Iraqis, right? But there was a civil war. There was an uprising, and
he gassed them.
Would Lincoln have used gas if it was available?
Everyone in the world at this point in time, because we all exist in the same time period, kind of agreed that was a bad idea, and we all made rules that we shouldn't gas each other anymore. We saw what happened in World War I with all the gassing. It was terrible. Horrible things happened to people.
Sherman went and burned down cities. Do I have Sherman, right?
Civil War.
Civil War.
Yeah, he burned Atlanta.
He burned Atlanta down. Lots of civilians died, fires, ugliness. And it wasn't just Atlanta. Like, apparently he left a trail. He just went there and burned everything he could in a straight line.
He burnt Atlanta to the ground. It was completely destroyed.
Lots of places. When they taught us anyway, he burned lots of places to the ground, including Atlanta. And, that was probably the best weapon we had at the time, fire. But Sherman's a hero. At least in the North he is.
Not in the South.
And...
we teach about the war on northern aggression down here.
So, anyway, the histories the winners get to write the history, and so Saddam had an uprising. He squashed it. They used to give him a hard time about using helicopters on his people. Like, he was supposed to handcuff himself and only go like octagon unarmed combat against these guys. He had the biochemical weapons. He had the helicopters, and he put them down forcefully and won his own civil war. The only problem he has is that the U.S. is writing his history for him.
But we had went in there. Wasn't it? I believe it was a Kurdish uprising, and we had gone in there. We'd made all these promises to him. We're like, we're with you, and then fucking Schwarzkopf goes right behind those Kurdish tribesmen's back and says, "Sure, we'll lower the no-fly zone, fly your choppers around," and that let him go right in and squash the whole thing. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those tribesmen that we stabbed in the back in 91 or 92 or whenever it was, are right on the front line shooting bazookas at motherfuckers right now today.
Could be. Yeah, never let a bush lead your country into war. Let that be a lesson for you.
The first one was cool, right?
This is the one we're talking about.
Gulf Storm, the first Gulf War with
This is the one we're talking
HW.
about. So at the conclusion of the first Gulf War, if I have my history right, which is unlikely, at the conclusion of the first Gulf War, we had won, but Saddam was still in power. So we encouraged the Kurds to have a civil war, and we gave them weapons, and we gave them support, and we gave them promises of more support and weapons. And then we didn't really follow through on that, and the Kurds got smashed. They wouldn't have gone against such impossible odds had we not told them we got your back. We didn't have their back, and the Kurds got smashed. And then they say Saddam Hussein is horrible and evil. Can you believe it? He kills his own people with helicopters and chemical weapons. But I just try to ask the question, does that make him evil? Or does that mean he won a civil war in his country, just like everyone else who wins a civil war in their country? He killed his own people. Yeah, but they sort of stopped being his people when they had a civil war.
I never thought Saddam was so bad. He seemed like the kind of guy you could make a deal with. Do you remember what he wanted at the end? He wanted to take $1 billion in cash and fucking leave, and they wouldn't let. That was the offer, right? They offered him like $1 billion in cash, and he could leave, and he turned it down. There was some deal like that. It didn't make sense at the end. I can only imagine that he just didn't believe that we would invade a second time. Would you? It did seem a little silly.
Is this like, yeah, you're going to give the Kurds helicopter support?
But I believed it at the time because he was just on TV. He was like, in no uncertain terms, he was laying it all out there. He's like, you got to give those weapons of mass destruction up, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, he should really give those up. Like, that's all we want. And I know, but still, it's just like, at the time, I'm thinking that to myself. And I feel like if Saddam were smart, he'd have been on some sort of like Iraqi CNN, like shuffling papers together and being like, we don't have any of that.
That's what he was
anymore.
doing. Yeah, he was on Iraqi television saying, we don't have it. But of course, we're here in the U.S., so we don't see that. He was constantly challenging George W. Bush to a televised debate. He's like, let's talk about this. Let's talk. And Bush,
was he really? I had no idea.
Yeah, he was constantly challenging Bush to a televised debate. He wanted to have translators in a debate where they could talk about this. And Bush is like, nope. Just turn over all those weapons you don't have, or we're coming in. And
like, you better go get some then, because we're coming back on Friday, and we either get some nukes or your ass is grass.
Yeah, and then Hans Blix is like, I've been searching for these weapons for 12 years now. I've never found any of them. You've been searching for 2 months. You haven't found anything either. What evidence do you have? And I felt like I was the only guy in America saying, I don't know if he has weapons or not. How could I? But it does seem like the burden of proof should be higher than we'll find him after we kill him. Right? Like this is the thing I've always said, right? In a capital punishment case, right? When there's a murder, we prove that there's a murder before we kill anyone. Here we're just like, I think after I kill you, then I'll find the evidence I need. And that just always seemed fucked up to me. If you want to start a war, have proof.
There was a good deal of evidence presented to the American people, as well as a lot of decision makers. You must admit. I don't know why you can't. You never will. But even Hillary Clinton and Mitt and like all the liberals, all the Democrats, the Republicans on both sides have said this. Jeb Bush recently said this. And everybody made fun of him and twisted his words. And I am not a Jeb Bush supporter. Don't even believe that. But they totally twisted his words and made him seem dumber than he already is.
I don't know if they twisted his words.
What evidence did you find the most compelling that you're referring to?
They kept talking about all of the tubing that was going there that was only used for like weapons of
equipment or something.
They kept, it may have turned out that way, but they kept saying.
Let me talk about the tubes. So there was a thing. John Stewart just took a New York Times reporter to task over this. There were these aluminum tubes, and they were saying that those aluminum tubes really only had one good use, and it had to do with like nuclear reactors or something like that. And I don't know anything about nuclear tubes. I'm like,
Or centrifuges, maybe.
Yes, maybe. That sounds good. Like, I don't know anything about this, but if they're saying this
That's how you get the
particular
temperature.
grade of tube is a centrifuge tube, then, I guess that's a thing. And immediately, like, intelligence people from all over the world were like, no, actually, you don't use that kind of tube the way that you're saying you use it. Use that kind of tube. I think it was like for a missile body or something. Like or even non-military, but like you could possibly be used as the outside body of a missile, but it was not a nuclear thing like they were saying it was. To them, it was the smoking gun that they had a nuclear program, which they didn't. But immediately everyone came out and said, no, you're wrong. You can't use that tube for that. Not only is it not the only use for it, it's not a use for it. You have to, it's not useful. And New York Times issued their retraction on like page 17, and the title of the article that was their retraction was like Saddam Hussein seeking conventional weapons of mass destruction, and like that was their like their counterproof or something like that. Like it was more beating the war drum. So that proof was like before we went to war was knocked out. I remember Colin Powell was his name. He got up there with this vial of serum gas in front of the United Nations saying that they were going to do this or that. And that turned out to be horseshit. They never found any of that. There was just no proof. And I think they cherry picked and manufactured the proof they needed to get people, and they're linking it with 9/11. Oh, goodness gracious. I mean, how many times did they say, 9/11 was terrible, we have to get Saddam? Oh, yeah. Just coincidentally, I mentioned them together. And I wasn't saying that Saddam had anything to do with 9/11. I'm just saying that, 9/11 was dreadful and we should go after Saddam.
Yeah, at this point in time, I'd argue that overwhelmingly people are on your side for all of this. Like saying that they don't think there was a reason to invade. They think the ties between 9/11 and Saddam were pretty specious at best.
But at the time, 2% of the U.S. was on my side with this. 2%. 98% wanted to go to war. This is a lot. And that's why Hillary was on board. That's why all the politicians at the time were like, yeah, we should do it. Because they're like, wow, I can't lose 98% of my electorate.
You don't want to be an anti-patriot, an anti-American.
Yeah.
A Saddam sympathizer or whatever they would have labeled you.
Did you see they gave the Tsarnaev kid the death penalty?
No.
The Boston bomber.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. I saw someone like make a campaign saying that he was way too cute to be executed.
That's a very serious campaign. It's been going on for some time. There's a lot of girls who find him attractive. And there's a huge fan club that he's amassed that all seem to think that he's been sort of bamboozled by the government, and he's been framed.
That's nothing new. Didn't Ted Bundy? He was the one who looked pretty attractive conventionally for a guy, right? He had quite a few women who had convinced themselves that he was in love with them, and that if he could just get out, they would be together forever. And obviously, the information age has made that exponentially, more significant. But even back then, it's always been a thing.
Yeah. Some of the testimony I saw from that trial was awful. I'm going to get the ages wrong, but there was a father who's the blast goes off, and one of his children, I think it's his son, has been blown almost to smithereens. He's blackened. His skin is blackened. He's missing limbs. He's clearly going to die in seconds, but he's still alive. And he's got his other son in his arms, and that son's missing a leg and is bleeding out. So he has to abandon his dying son and run to get aid for the kid that he's holding. And I think when you hear testimony like that, you understand why they came down to the death penalty. Although when you look at the reality of the death penalty in this country, it's probably just more trouble.
Especially Boston. I just don't have any faith in Massachusetts' ability to kill a guy. We need them tried in Texas, exactly. I remember, who was that female governor of Texas? Do you know her name? Like Whitaker or something? I forget. Something.
she's the one that's
And
often
Ryan
featured on
Reynolds?
on King of the Hill, is it right? Like,
Maybe, I don't know.
didn't they call her Lady Bird or something?
That was a president's first wife, or president's wife, Lady Bird. LBJ's maybe, female Texas governor. Her name is Ann Richards. I was close with Ann Ryan. Anyway, Ann Richards, I think I heard her tell this story where one time she pardoned someone on death row, and she's like, I really thought we didn't have the proof. I thought the guy should have been pardoned. I will never do that again. All of Texas hated her. They felt like she didn't have the guts to kill a person. All of Texas was like, no. When you find someone guilty in Texas and you put someone to death, hurry the fuck up about it. This is Texas, and we don't mess around. And
in Massachusetts, the appeals process will last years and years and years and years, right? So he's going to spend,
I would guess,
a long time in prison.
It's that crazy federal prison shit too.
If it
though.
does happen.
Like, don't be thinking this is like Oz and he's gonna be like milling around and going to rec time. He'll sit in a small cell, and it's got a window in it about this big, and then it's got a drawer down to the bottom to get food in and out. He'll stay in there like 2 hours of the day. He'll get out, and that's it. He's gonna spend most of his life in a cube for the next 80 years.
See, like, my visceral feeling about it is like, oh yeah, I read all those stories and saw everything. Yeah, fuck that guy. That's horrific. And it is. Like, yeah, kill him. But then, like, when I try and think of a reason for it, like, the biggest thing is just, like, emotionally. I think he deserves it. Like, yeah, what's
He
fair
does
is fair.
deserve it.
Like,
That's
yeah,
what the criminal justice system is all about. He does deserve it. It's been
but should
decided.
we
It is known.
It is known.
Yeah, kill that
I don't
guy.
know.
Kill that guy. I don't have a second thought about it. As a matter of fact, if they ask me to do it, if they're like, Woody, look, we got two options here, man. We can either do the appeals process, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Or, because you're special, if you'd hook us up with the death right now, it'd be over.
What if we hook him up to the Tacoma?
Yeah.
You just go on a little off-road.
Like, nothing's tearing that bumper off. String him up. I'll hook you up.
I like that. I like that. String him up. I just want that clip. I like that. Yeah, I think I could get.
Someone make that now.
All right. If you had to start another Call of Duty channel right now, do you think it would be as successful or enjoy it? Do you think you'd be as successful or enjoy it as much?
Of course not. What a stupid question.
Yeah, none of us.
No, this came from a Patreon. It is a genius question.
Well, I mean, they're not all.
You got to be an early adopter, somewhat, to have gotten big in this game. Like, very few people are just coming in and exploding.
It certainly helps to be a first mover. I think sometimes people would ask me like, hey, Woody, if you were to start over right now, right, with the current batch of COD YouTubers, pretend this question was from 2 years ago, do you think that you'd do well again? I do. I think my videos were pretty good. I was pretty proud of them. I think that if you looked at the whole course, the rise and fall of the COD scene on YouTube, I had videos that no one else had, and there were clearly videos other people had that I didn't, but I think there was a place for me on YouTube, and I found that place, and it was cool. So yeah, I think if hypothetically I didn't start as early as I did, I'd still do well. I think I made good videos. If I were to try to do it right now, make a COD channel, no. If I started up my horse and buggy business, I think that would do poorly too.
I like that answer.
That's how I feel about that. Let's see what other ones we got.
Mm-hmm.
Am I robot-y? You guys just got a little robot-y for me.
You're fine for me.
Okay.
For $10 million, would you juggle your dad's balls in your mouth while he's sleeping for 60 seconds? Sure, why not? 10 million? There's not much I won't do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll eat one of them. Fucking raw. Like, what are you talking about? It's $10 million. I'll eat one of mine for $10 million.
Yeah, I'd be like, Dad.
No, I would explain it to him.
I have an opportunity.
He's asleep.
He's asleep?
Yeah. Of course. I'm gonna slip him 2 or 3 Ambien.
I like your plans.
There's a lot of booze in the world.
There's a lot of booze in the world. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I would drug him I
No,
would
it's
juggle his
understood that
balls
he's
in my
like,
mouth.
He's not going to be like, oh.
If I could
what
get them
the-"
out of my mom's. Hi, Mom. And, and do that. No one
Hey,
thought that was
with the
funny?
sex life they have, your father's probably well groomed as well. So I mean,
Oh.
I know, they're old school. I was born in the
that's true.
70s. Just saying. Do I have any favorite streamers?
Realistic, it's funnier to say yes.
Do you guys have any favorite streamers?
nah.
No, I don't watch streams.
I like Wings. I guess Wings is my favorite streamer, but you have to keep in mind that I just don't watch streams very often. He's the only one I really know of, and so occasionally I'll tune in and watch him do his thing.
I might be a dinosaur in my preferences because I think I prefer YouTube videos to streams. I feel like YouTube videos are best of clip. And if it's like a live play, then usually they're like, I don't know, this is a highlight video, right? This is the good stuff. Like if you look at the C-Nanners formula, right? Where like he plays for 2 hours and he grabs the best 5 minutes and shows it to you. I think I like that more than a stream. Or if you look at like the old school Woody formula where, you know, he grabs a gameplay, thinks about what he's going to say, and then he has 7 minutes of like, you know, here's the thing I want to tell you. I like that. Whenever I pop into a stream, it's usually boring as fuck.
Yeah,
It's
I've noticed that too. When I follow a link, like I want a video because I know that it's condensed, and even if it's not great, it's going to be over in 7 minutes. With a stream, you pop in, you don't know if you just missed the good thing, or if you're about to see a good thing, or if there's just no good things to be had. Like
It's usually that one.
Can't know. Yeah, generally I feel like that's right, because when you go in, it's not like they're actively entertaining most of the time. And granted, this is from a very small sample size, because I've only gone in when I've been redirected there, or just out of curiosity clicked on, you know, a few of them. It's just not entertaining, and it doesn't seem like the person is putting in 100% effort for the entire time. They
As a guy that
dwindle
streams,
down to 20%.
it's hard to put it. It's fake to put in 100% all the time. You know,
Yeah.
So you're trying to be like the real you and connect with people or whatever. But if you're just bouncing off the walls 100%, it seems fake. It eventually it does wind down. I remember I did a stream with Kyle and Chiz. It was long because it was Civ. I'm dancing and dancing. By the end of the night, I'm like,
You're just don't even care.
just observing.
Who's still here? Oh, don't get a job.
So yeah, I kind of like YouTube videos more than streamers. Having said that, I like PwnStar.com when he streams. He has actually a crew that he streams with, and I like those guys. There's one guy going to mess up his name, but it's like Jaguar or something like that. I like that guy. I think I like watching shooter streams the most. I've been watching some CS:GO lately, although it's sometimes hard for me to like understand the scene. Like I'll watch this really popular CS:GO. I'm like, all right, let's see the guys with the most views, who I assume might be the guys who are the most entertaining. And then there they are, like trading gun skins or something for a long time, or this excessive amount of time to get into a game. And I'm like, oh my god, like it's all lobbies and skins and like shit. And I'm here to watch somebody shoot. You go all the way down to like the 7th most popular guy, and you know, whatever. I just find streaming seems to be 90% waiting for something better. And that's why I think I prefer YouTube. But to answer the question, probably PwnStar.com is my favorite streamer.
Do you think we should call a wild card here? It seems like Taylor's in and out.
He is. I want to do one more. I do hear you. What is one mistake you did with Painkiller already? If there's one thing you've done on PKA, you maybe take it back. Yeah, you're here.
Oh, like done on the show?
That's how I interpret it.
Yeah, I don't think I've done anything really that I regret.
Yeah, I can't think of any good mistakes that you've made.
I remember one time it was we had this anti-gun guy on, and we were talking to him a little bit, and I like left for like 20 minutes to fuck a girl in the middle of the show, and so I guess I should apologize for that. But other than that, you know, I feel like I've done everything I wanted to do on the show.
one time there's the whole women are built for rape thing, which isn't exactly what I said, but I certainly wish I had phrased it better. The whole argument was, when it comes to date rape, not the brutal kind of rape, but like a date rape, the real damage is emotional. And I was saying that the damage isn't physical. Women are built for intercourse. It's really the mental toll that it comes afterwards. And I was comparing it to the mental toll that a guy might take from a beating. And this one guy, Pawn Star for Hire, who didn't like me at the time, took it and ran with it and said, Woody said that women are built for rape. And then
Is that how that happened?
Uh-huh.
I had no idea how that became.
Yeah, he made a video
thing.
about it, and then everyone started making the same video about it, repeating the same quote, and it just went crazy. I wish that I had stated that better. And then the other one is the Robin Williams one, which blew over quickly, perhaps because I apologized. But the real thing on that was I felt like people were celebrating this guy who had no choice but to end his life.
What's worse is it recently turned out that like the suicide may have been caused by some like complications from that neurological thing he had going on. Maybe Parkinson's. And I think that had a lot more to do with what happened than anything. So it's just like,
oh, it makes my cringe even worse.
Yeah.
I'll say this though. So the National Suicide Hotline fielded a record number of calls the next day,
Read that.
which tells me that a lot of people were inspired to at least think or like begin a suicide thing because Robin Williams and all the love he got for it. And that was really what I was trying to do. When I was saying, F Robin Williams, it wasn't like it was. This is what people are going to think about you if you kill yourself. It was supposed to be a suicide demotivator, and that was the thing. But I certainly didn't do it right. So those are my two PKA do-overs. If I could pull mulligans, it'd be on the Robin Williams and the whole rape thing.
You wouldn't take back going after Lefty, would you, Taylor?
Oh, that's of course. Yeah, I felt terrible for just being so unabashedly mean to him because he hadn't ever been mean to me. Like he'd never been mean
even
to me
afterwards.
at all. He did nothing to deserve that, and he handled it very well. And I was just a prick, and so I felt terrible about that. So that would be it.
Huh.
I was hoping you wouldn't take it back.
No, I like legitimately.
Gracious of you. That's nice.
Well, being honest, that's
I
what
thought it was a pretty funny moment. I thought you'd be like, it was kind of cruel, but yeah, it's funny.
It was just I made an ass of myself and just was a prick to him. So I felt bad about that. I would take that back absolutely.
Sometimes when people are drunk, they say what they really mean, and sometimes when people are drunk, they say what they didn't mean at all. It really can go both ways. I remember
sometimes
Murka,
you just have it in your head that you're trying to be crazy over the top, and you have no filter because you're drunk, and so you're just like you're doing it for a show, and you don't realize how much of a just awful fest it is. So that's what that was.
At one time, you told him that he wasn't funny, that he didn't deserve his spot on the show, and I was I wonder if that's coming from a place of truth.
I don't know.
Mm.
It's just mean. But yep, that's my one. I can't think of any for Kyle either, and I can't think of any more for you other than those two.
Those are my two best ones. I'm sure I have dozens of smaller ones. Yeah, I wonder. I feel like Lefty doesn't have much he's done on the show, at least like on camera, that he would need to redo. And I wonder if Wings would redo anything.
I wonder that as well. You never know what he would say. He might say, yeah, literally every night there was a moment where I wish I could hit rewind, or he might just be like, nah, what else was I gonna do?
I feel some of the Wings rewind moments to me aren't on PKA. They're like he's made videos talking about other YouTubers on his channel. That sometimes I'm like, why'd you do that?
I don't know. Wings is Wings.
Wings is Wings.
I wish he'd make some more real life videos. I want to get I want something like the walking videos, but I want it to be him doing whatever he's doing. Videos.
Yeah, that's
I don't
another.
need him to walk. Literally, if it were him eating and talking about foods, that would be cool to me. Like, if his passion is food, why doesn't he start? Why doesn't he become the bearded chef?
I would like to see him cook. His passion might be.
That's a good idea.
His passion's eating. I think he exaggerated when he said that he wouldn't microwave. I think that was He'll microwave. I mean, heck, he lived on ramen noodles for ages. You think he ate them cold? No, that was a stretch when he said that he wouldn't microwave stuff. But it would be neat. My wife likes cooking, especially in this house that we have it's propane, but call it like a gas stove, and she finds that much more enjoyable to cook on. So it'd be neat if Wings got into like cooking good food. It might even be good for his health.
Yeah,
compared to the fast food or quick meals he has now. But
he could make those hot wings of redemption that I've wanted for years.
Now there is a business that will go huge. If he made hot wings of redemption and they were good, I bet he would actually sell quite a bit.
I just want to see him like licking his fingers and be like, that's that fire sauce. Hot wings of redemption. And he's got get a picture of him wearing like the chef's hat and everything on the bottle, but he's all like grayed out and like that, you've taken like decolored it or whatever. I'd love that.
How hard is it to sell hot sauce? I have in my head that you need like if you sell drugs, there's like an FDA approval process that is really, really, sell legal drugs. That is I know this because I used to work with ERP software. It's insane. But food is probably not that bad. Lots of people sell food, right?
So I was going to make my own vodka one time, and it was a whole thing for alcohol.
Yes.
But I think for food grade stuff, I think that what he would legitimately want to do is find his recipe, order the parts in bulk, find some labels and some glass jars, and start bottling that stuff at home, just like Kitty does. And I think he'd be in business because her stuff is, you stamp whatever it is on there and you be honest about it. And nobody's checking up to make sure that, everything's organic over here. It just is. So.
Yeah, I think he could have a real business on his hand if he sold hot sauce.
I kind of want to make like one bottle of it because Kitty has the bottles and the sealers for him. I really just need the label, right?
Someone would Photoshop that for you.
You know what? I'm going to start selling it. If you guys want some hot wings of redemption sauce, I'm going to make the sauce. I'm going to bottle it and we'll put it on Etsy because he didn't go to his name trademark.
I would love to see him do that.
It's too late now.
Yep, idea's taken.
Yeah, it's going on my Etsy shop.
Yeah, and another thing about streaming that I don't like, circling back to their topic, is it's become an e-begging thing. And I don't like that. I don't like when people like over celebrate the $1 you gave them or the $3. It's yucky.
Yeah, it definitely can be.
Asking for likes just seems so much more like they used to fuss at me because I asked for likes. Dude, that's nothing compared to what's going on in streams now with people dancing for dollars and other stuff. Like I can't even mention some of the stuff because you'll instantly know who I'm talking about. But you know what I'm thinking of, don't you?
I know, of course.
I have no idea.
I will type it to you.
Woody is typing a secret message to Taylor now.
Yes, for those in the car. Okay.
That's a good one, right?
Well, I am out of touch with the community. The whole YouTube community.
Stuff like that is just not a good...
Or I guess Twitch, whatever.
It's not a good look, man. It's not a good look. And, and while that I think is an extreme one, lots of people are e-begging constantly. And, that was a thing.
See, now the correct answer was all the way. I was hoping.
Kyle was right too, though.
that was all you, Kyle. Come on.
Yeah. So anyway, it's not that I hate Twitch, the company, or anything like that, but I feel like I hope that the community evolves into something more entertaining. So
we'll see. The advent of the whole idea of being a guy on Twitch who's begging for money is just, I don't know. It seems very lucrative. It's I see all those girls on there, and it seems like they're all making quite a lot of money. And there's so many guys. It's so perfect because there's so many guys, I think, that are in that community who might be susceptible to a large-breasted, like pretty girl on the internet who shares the same. Passion as you, and she just needs a little money to like make her hop up and down and like smile at you and be like, "Thanks, Tommy." You're like, "Shit, that's the first time a girl's ever said my name and been happy about it."
Some of these girls you're talking about are legit cam whores. Like they transitioned from the porn to the gaming community.
That's a good transition.
And
Yeah,
and
you can come
they,
and do well if you're already very slutty enough. That's the trick.
and you know they dress for it and they make it happen.
I think the career that I need to get into is becoming some sort of like cam girl pimp. I feel like if you had like a stable of girls that you were like, you know, had a network and you were working all the cross promotion with their social medias and stuff, you could totally be like a cam girl pimp and like run that thing. You'd have like your bottom bitch getting, you know, making $1,000 a day and shit. Like you could really get ahead in that game.
If you had the contacts for it, a YouTube agent would be a great deal. Like a lot of the agents that exist in the YouTube scene now are like if Machinima is your agent or something, they just totally rape you. They take 80% of the money and they do a disservice to the people. But if there's someone out there who has a legit talent for creating deals for people, you could be the most desired agent in the thing, and then you'd be signing up big names, you know, and 25% cut is fair.
Nah, you don't want any big names. You just want like 10 whores who are gonna like do weird shit online while they make money.
I'm not talking. I sort of transitioned from your idea to a more legit
big mistake.
one.
Big mistake.
No, like I'm making up names
them
now.
too, Woody. Come on.
But like I swear, if you're a good agent, you could get someone like PewDiePie, Sky Does Minecraft, Captain Sparkles, etc. Like all those, you know, like a lot of legit
double anal, whatever, anything.
You could
Blow
get those
bangs.
guys, line them up with deals, make someone landed Red Bull for Nade Shot. You know, if you're the guy that can make that kind of thing happen, then there's a lot of people out there who have no experience in representing themselves and could use an honest agent.
Make more in 1 weekend of selling panties than you ever would doing all that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, totally.
I don't think so. I think that job I just talked about, if you're good at it, is insanely lucrative, and there's such a need for it.
Think you know what the overhead's like in the used panty selling game. Have you seen those subreddits where chicks are selling their panties? And there's websites where they do it as well. Like they sell their panties for like $50, $100 and stuff. Like hot chicks.
Jesus Christ.
You know, they put up like an Imager album of them like masturbating in these tight panties, and then it's clearly that pair of panties, and you could purchase them, the hot panties that the hot chick masturbated to on the internet. And you know, guys are paying for them. And
there has to be a way to do this, right? Like find. I would buy 30 pairs of those panties, set up the pictures, wipe a little Vaseline in the other 29, sell them. Whatever it takes to imitate gruel.
A day of gruel, huh? A day of masturbation is
What an ugly word.
I know, right? There's a subreddit at r/gruel.
Yeah, it's like girl
It's on
droolers.
his list. That's how I knew.
Visiting that.
It's what? It's on my
Woody's
list. Gruel's hot. Anyway, yeah, just whatever, you just find it. Maybe a little lip balm or something. Rub some chapstick in there. Bam.
Yeah.
Wow.
It even smells like cherries.
This girl's junk smells like strawberries. She's amazing.
Nothing but real pussy juice in the panties that we sell over on my site.
Well, my panties only cost 1/3 what his do, and I sell bundles of them. Cheap.
Yeah, but his smell like your grandma. Chapstick and Vaseline. Who are you?
I'm your competition in the panty selling market.
I think we're about to lose our video in 2 seconds.
Really?
Are we?
I was wrong.
No, it'll happen.
It will happen. Like we've done this before. See? Yeah. It happens.
All right, you guys, you want to call it there?
All right. I've resisted the first one. I think I'll go for this one. So that was Painkiller Eddie already, episode 231. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And
check out Patreon down in the description below. We've got some cool stuff planned for the near future, and you're going to want to be on board.
Yeah. You could, and you'll see this video first. You'll see the PKN video. You'll get questions. We're doing the Google Hangout this weekend. If you're watching this and not a Patreon, it's tomorrow. It's Sunday at noon, I think, right? Eastern time. So, all kinds of benefits for the Patreon guys. We love you, and we appreciate your support. So even if you do the $3 one, which just gives you the topics and stuff and advantage, we appreciate that you did that. Well, I'll speak for me.
You only get Woody's appreciation if you shell out $3. You put 5 in there. Yeah, I'll give you a nod when we meet in the hallway. That's it, though.
All right. PKA episode 231.